All right, welcome everybody to the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunters Society live talk show. This is episode number 6, and we have got a heck of a show for you guys tonight. We have just gotten back from our trip to Tennessee, doing some paranormal investigations there in the Tennessee area. Investigated 3 places and then kind of scouted out and did a little tour of another location. We're going to talk about all that tonight here on our show. And we have special guests with us here again tonight. Mr. Dale Kaczmarek is in the box down here waiting to be put into the live stream. But I just want to tell you guys a few things here before we get started. Like I say, again, welcome to the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunters Society live talk show, episode number 6. So we are going to talk all about that tonight. But you can visit our website at crawfordcountyghosthunters.org. If you want to email us, guys, email us at illinoishauntings@gmail.com. If you have any questions or want to request an investigation, and you're probably watching this on Facebook, but our Facebook is Crawford County Ghost Hunters at Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel that we are dual broadcasting and streaming this live talk show to. So if you are watching it on on YouTube, I apologize. We are not monitoring your questions on there. So definitely switch over to Facebook if you want us to ask any questions that you might have during the course of this show. We are just checking out the live feed off of Facebook. So our Instagram is Instagram.com/Crawford County Ghost Hunters. If you want to go on there and give us a follow. And before we get going, just want to give the Midnight Syndicate another thanks. All rights reserved. Their music was used with permission. You can visit their website at midnightsyndicate.com. So those guys are cool, and they let us use their music during the show we have here. But guys, I'm going to get right to the point here and get our special guest in here tonight. We canceled last night's show and rescheduled it for tonight because we were on the road yesterday. We were all tired, and I couldn't get any evidence ready in time or anything up for the show. So thought it'd be a lot better if I took a day to get everything to where we could show you guys some stuff that happened to us during our investigations in Tennessee this past weekend. So trying to get the live feed going up here. I'm not seeing it right now where I can monitor you guys for questions. Here we go. Now I can see it. And yeah, Becky, just seen your comment. Definitely do Troll Patrol. If we got any trolls out there in the audience, Becky's going to take care of them tonight. She's our bouncer, and she's going to get rid of them. So also, let me know. I can see your comments now. Let me know, guys, does my audio and video look okay? Because I'm doing the show tonight from a different location than what I normally do due to bad video quality in past shows. I tried to switch locations tonight. Let me know if it looks better tonight. Can you see my face? I don't know if that's a good thing or not. If you can see my face, you may not want to see my face, but maybe a bad thing. Maybe I need my face blurry, but yeah, we'll get this show on the road here, and I'm going to introduce my special guest again here tonight. Maybe, but tonight's guest, we have got Mr. Dale Kaczmarek, and I'm bringing him on to the show right now. You are live, Dale.
How you doing, Jason?
Pretty good. Long time no see.
I was going to say that. Took the words out of my mouth.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. We must think alike there. But so, again, we got Dale Kaczmarek on here tonight. And if you guys don't know Dale, I think at this point he really doesn't need any introduction, but he is the founder and president of the Ghost Research Society. You can visit his website at ghostresearch.org. I've got it scrolling across the bottom right now if you want to check his site out. But we're going to talk with you guys about, what all we experienced during our investigations in several locations in Tennessee and show you guys some clips. And Dale's got some EVPs sent to me. Some of them I didn't even have time to listen to, so I'm kind of excited. we're kind of doing an evidence review live here, Dale, because I haven't seen some of yours. I didn't actually listen to all of them, so I'm kind of excited.
There you go.
But I want to start out, we so if you guys don't know or didn't watch any of our live feeds, we left, what was it, on the 4th we left on the 5th, didn't we?
4th.
4th, yeah, we did leave on the 4th. I'm still tired. we left on the 4th, and we haven't got much sleep since then, or at least I haven't, but to do a paranormal investigation, and we started out, we went to the Stones River National Battlefield in Tennessee, and Dale knows a lot more history, to that location than I do, so I'll let him kind of fill you in on, Stones River, and then I'll tell you guys, what we experienced there. And Dale's got some EVPs he sent to me from that location. So if you want to kind of fill them in, Dale, kind of give them, just a little brief history of, the battlefield and what happened there. I mean, that of anyway, maybe some of the hauntings.
Sure. Well, this was during the Civil War. They basically had an Eastern and a Western theater. And this was what you would call the Western Theater. This was the Eastern Theater would have been like North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, places like that. And the Western Theater would have been like Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, places like that. So this would have been in the Western Theater. And this battle actually was fought over a course of 3 days, December 31st, 1862 through January the 2nd of 1863. So there was actually 3 days of pretty bloody battle out here. The two commanders that were in charge of their armies out here were not exactly the brightest people in the world, as far as they weren't on the top of their class in West Point. You had General Braxton Bragg, who was the Confederate Union commander. I should be the Confederate commander, and the Union commander was William Rosecrans. And William Rosecrans, again, he wasn't. These were people that initially fought very early in the war. The war, started back in the 1860, 61, somewhere in that, and went through 1865. And as the war continued on and on, many of these commanders kind of got replaced by better commanders like Robert E. Lee and others. And these.
Uh-oh. I think I lost Dale. I'm not sure what happened to him. Huh. Hope that's on his end. I am not seeing Dale Kaczmarek anymore. I think the Civil War ghost just got him. But if you guys can still see and hear me out there, please let me know. I think I'm good. I'm looking at the live feed here, and it looks like I just lost Dale's feed, and I have no idea why. So hopefully he jumps back in the show here in a minute. I'm going to try to talk with him on Messenger here and make sure he's going to get back in here. He may have lost internet at his place. I'm not sure what happened. You may not know he's even not on here anymore. So I'm hang in there, guys. I'm sending him a message. But I don't know what just happened, but I don't know. I may have to tell this story myself, which won't be as fun because Dale was there with me, so I thought I'd have him on here. Hopefully he figures out his problem here in a minute, gets back in here. That's really weird. I lost him completely. But yeah, guys, if you're tuning in, he was kind of filling you guys in on the Stones River battlefield. And there was a lot of deaths take place at this location. And there was a lot of places where we stopped, they were numbered. Looks like he's coming back in right now. Looks like I've got him. So hang in there, guys. I'm getting him back in the feed right now. So welcome back, Dale.
Hey, it's ghosts in the internet or something here.
That's what I told him. I told him I think the Stones River battlefield ghost got you or something.
Well, anyway, what I was saying is that these Confederate and both Union and Confederate commanders were not the best commanders in the world, and unfortunately, they lost a lot of men here at this battle of Stones River. The locations that we visited, there's 6 major stops on the battlefield, but several of the stops they had a lot more loss of life than other sections, and especially stop number 6. We were there, and we actually found out that it lost about 1,800 men in about an hour's worth of battle, which is just crazy.
Wow.
They were using what they called canister fire, which is like shells that came out of there were just like ball bearings and pieces of shrapnel that would tear huge holes into the attacking lines, and it was an easy way to control an attacking army, because they usually retreated when confronted by that kind of artillery. But throughout the battle, there were a number of places that we visited on the battlefield. I remember you commenting about stop number 2 being called the slaughter pen.
Oh yeah, yep.
So you kind of have an idea what may have happened there because of all the just the name of slaughter pen.
Yeah,
and
that's where we lost Courtney.
Yeah, she got taken prisoner temporarily by some Union ghost or Confederate ghost out there.
Yeah, she took off running up a trail, and she made us late for the next stop. I don't know what she was doing, but we found her finally.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting out there. I mean, unfortunately, we were supposed to actually meet with a deputy sheriff's department officer from the Rutherford County Sheriff's Department, who actually had an encounter at stop number 5, which is very near a Hazens Brigade memorial, where they had a number of a small walled-in cemetery, but there was some skirmishes and some part of a conflict that took place there. He was basically he had appeared on the TV show Paranormal Emergency, and he said he was just stopping to in the middle of the battlefield because it was quiet. He was catching up on some reports when he saw what appeared to be a figure standing up near the top of the hill, and right away he thought there might have been a transient person, maybe somebody who was a trespasser, a drug addict, a homeless person.
Right.
He didn't really know, and kind of went up there and shined the spotlight toward him, asking, can I help you? And he wasn't answering. And of course, that he hadn't mentioned in the show that when people, especially law enforcement, they don't get a response, it kind of makes them a little uneasy because they don't know what's on this person's mind. But when he got close to that person, he discovered it was actually a Civil War Confederate soldier, and he had a very, he looked eyeball to eyeball with this guy, literally. And
wow.
He said this guy began approaching him. He literally felt this guy kind of go through him, just like a passing wind or something. And he was like immediately transported for a bit onto the battlefield. He said there was bullets whizzing by and people dying and gunshots and artillery rounds being blown up all over the place. And as they were trying to rush this hill, apparently what happened is that I guess you could guess you kind of say he was almost possessed for a second by the spirit of this Confederate soldier. And when this Confederate soldier died in the battle by being bayoneted, he actually felt that, the Deputy King felt that himself. And that kind of snapped him out of it at that point. And he just found himself kind of like in an empty battlefield and dark. The guy was gone. He'd been back there several times and never saw that. We were supposed to meet him, and unfortunately that didn't work out. But there were stop 4, 5, and 6 were the 3 major stops that are on the battlefields. Stop 4 and stop 6 I actually heard about years ago in a book called More Haunted Houses by Richard Weiner on WINER. And that came out in 1979. It was a paperback, and they had a whole chapter on a battlefield ghost. And they talked to different forest rangers out there, including a guy named Jeffrey Leathers. And he had a lot of experiences out there in the past with some of his other buddy forest rangers, including camping out there in the battlefield at night and actually seeing what looks to be maybe somebody approaching them out of the shadows. And
wow,
one hand was raised up, and then he told them to stop. He thought it was his buddy, maybe having a little bit of a joke with him. And then both hands went up, and then suddenly this figure just fell over on the ground. He ran over there. Nothing was disturbed. There was nothing nearby. And he looked at that later on, this being the former park ranger. He said most likely it was somebody was maybe trying to surrender and was shot and was killed. And that's where he died. So lots of strange things have happened out there in the past.
Oh, yeah. I was really interested by stop 4. Real quick, guys, can you still see and hear us out there? Lisa just said they keep coming and going on my end too. I'm not sure what that means, but can you guys still see and hear us all right out there in the live feed? Thought it looked better tonight, but maybe not. Give me a thumbs up again if you guys can see and hear me out there good. And we're still on for sure, but I just don't know how the quality is. But yeah, stop number 4, that's the one that really impressed me, Dale. Like I don't know, that's just the one that stood out in my mind. Okay, everybody's saying good here. You're fine. Yep, we can hear you. So, all right, good deal. But yeah, stop number 4 at that trench. I don't know. Where they dug in the trench, and you can still see that that's still there from the battle. I mean, that is just amazing to me that those things could survive that long and be in that good of condition, and it's kind of like a ditch where it says they dug in. I think the historical marker actually says they dug in or something along those lines right here. And I got a pretty good EVP there. I know it's an EVP, but I still have not had time to get that off there and review it yet because it's going to take me about 2 weeks to go through everything. So I'll probably be popping stuff up on, our next 2 shows about the stuff we did on our Tennessee trip. I know I got an extremely good EVP when I was standing down in the trench, and I'm not real sure what it said, but I don't know. Did you collect any evidence? What was your best evidence from the battlefield, Dale? Did you get anything? Actually, you sent me some EVPs, didn't you?
Yeah, actually, I sent a couple of EVPs. Basically, we got some in the McFadden Cemetery, which was stop number 6. And then we got a few over at the Hazens Brigade Memorial that I got a few that I sent up to you as well. But those trenches, the very first one we did, I think we did a short one, which we initially was just a true EVP session we did without using any devices at all. And I think maybe that's where you caught your EVP, I think, or maybe it was the Sangean, I'm not sure. But we also ran with the Phasm box too.
Yeah, my EVP was actually straight out of the air. I think the one I caught, it was just a straight out EVP session. I did run the Sangean in there too, and that's when a phantom raindrop came out of the air about the size of I say a basketball, but it was probably about like that in reality. But went right into the speaker of my Sangean and kind of messed my Sangean ghost box up, and I think it dried out by, I don't know, night 3. It seems like it's running a little better now, so hopefully it didn't completely destroy it. But that was weird. It was like the second I got that thing out, it was like, we're not talking to you. And they shot a raindrop right into my speaker. And that was like the only raindrop. It was weird.
Right. Yeah. See, that trench was actually part of a breastwork that they were trying to build. When they try to build these breastworks, they say breastwork because they come up to your breast or so, or up to the bottom of your neck. So they try to dig these trenches and they pile the dirt up in front of them, sometimes with rocks and other logs or trees or whatever they have, so that when they fire their muskets, then they can just shoot, they can duck back down, load their muskets without being shot at, and pop back up and shoot again. So it's a trench, and it was kind of like an L-shaped trench. It was kind of like an angle, so it could repel from a straight on and slightly to the right of attacking armies. And they were very effective during the battles, any type of battle. Whenever you had entrenched troops, it was nearly suicide to charge into those areas.
Yeah. I think I don't know, for some odd reason, stop 4 was, I think, my favorite. And then I like the location where we went to too, with the wall around it, where the guys had the siding.
Right.
I don't remember what stop that was. Is that 6?
5, number 5.
5? 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I did like 4, 5, and 6. That was the haunted locations anyway. But yeah,
Sure.
we should have just went to 4, 5, and 6. But yeah, they were really interesting. And I think we got some good stuff there. And then the last stop's where we walked, wasn't it?
Yeah, number 6 was the one that we had to park in the public parking and then kind of walk under an overpass and come up there. And there was a few things along the way that we saw, and this big giant marker was up there. And then just before we were getting ready to leave, we happened to see that right across the field there was the McFadden Cemetery.
Yes, yeah. And I'm gonna pop the picture up. I'm gonna pop the group picture up we took at the battlefield entrance and the memorial we're talking about, guys. So hold on just a second. There's a group shot Dale took with his selfie stick, and I got to get one of these things. He uses that selfie stick. That thing's pretty awesome for taking group pictures, so everybody can be in it. And got me there, Dale, Courtney Mendenhall, Mikey, and Kelly, one of Dale's new members back there in the background. So, we had a great time there at the battlefield and investigating that location, and show you guys another one real quick. We took the memorial. I'll pop it up too here. Got a couple we took there. Another group shot we took at the memorial. Now, that's at stop number 6 that Dale's talking about. We had to kind of hike into this location, and you can see the cannons in the background there. And you want to fill them in a little again. Like, now, did they actually fired onto this hill, killing, what was it? What did you say again? 1,800 people?
1,800 people in just a little less than an hour.
1,800 people in less than an hour.
Yeah.
That's kind of hard to comprehend, isn't it?
Well, think of it this way. If you were charging up a hill and say there was, say you had a couple of hundred people charging up the hill, and waiting up there was about, say 15, 20 people with shotguns up there and using buckshot, and they're shooting down at you. You're going to not just take out one person. You're going to take out 3 or 4 with every shot.
Sure.
These cannons are even bigger. The bores are bigger, obviously much larger than a shotgun, handheld. And the shells that basically that come out of there, they're sometimes they would use what was called double canister, which they would actually pack in 2 of these charges inside there. So they would come out, and as they come out, they begin to separate and spread immediately. So you're taking out 10, 15 people sometimes at a shot.
Right.
It's a pretty awesome thing, and obviously not something you'd want to definitely charge into.
Right. Yeah, and again, guys, that location we investigated was called the Stone River National Battlefield in Tennessee, and I highly recommend going there. If you got a paranormal team or even for a vacation, that's a cool place you can go, and it's in like phase 2 or 3 now, so they let you walk around. And drive there. And I think it closes at dusk, but we went into some of the locations, and you can drive to a lot of them, but there is some walking involved. I think Courtney had set her Fitbit that day. She said we ended up walking like almost 5 or 6 miles. So, we did a little walking and hiking, on those battlefields, doing those investigations. So, but that is a cool place to investigate. And like I had a couple good experiences there with the EVP in the trench, and I definitely think the place has a lot of energy. All the battlefields, I think you have that feeling, that energy feeling. Of course, I've been to some smaller battle sites, but that's my biggest battlefield I've ever been to. So that was neat for me, because it was my first time being into a large battlefield like that. It was just the overwhelming feeling of knowing that many people died at that location, and just the history, the history of what took place there. It's kind of overwhelming when you're out there. It's like, it's kind of hard to grasp and take in, and I don't know I'm not saying it's psychic visions I was getting, but there was a couple of points when I was sitting up there investigating. It was like I was almost transported back in time. I would look out across the field and just kind of visually get an image of what took place, at that location, and kind of, imagine, people hiding behind trees and getting shot at, just a visual image you kind of get of these places when you get there. But it may have been psychic. I don't know. But, it was kind of like this vision kind of playing in my head of, people dying. And I did have another experience out there. It was kind of weird, but at the trench, I thought I seen somebody back by the woods, but I can't say.
Yeah, I did too, actually. I saw one down at stop number 6. If you remember, we were up there by the marker, and I thought for a second, I saw somebody kind of like look around one of the trees.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
black shadow, and then Mikey ran down there. Kelly was down there on the other side. And I found out that Kelly's a little bit psychic herself, so she was picking up some impressions. And Mikey went down there. There was absolutely nobody down there, but throughout the battlefield, you had these little cardboard cutouts with their guns.
Yeah,
we were kind of commenting ourselves about that. If you imagine people going past there on a moonlit night with the moon just reflecting off these perfectly, and you're seeing what appears to be shadow images of soldiers out there.
Yeah, that'd be kind of
creepy.
Yeah, kind of disturbing. On a full moon night, you just drive past there, and you see that because some of them they got hidden pretty good in some like brush piles and behind trees. And if you're hiking down the trails at night, maybe and you hit that with a flashlight, my gosh, that'd be pretty freaky.
Yeah,
but yeah, I thought I seen something back by the woods. I can't verify it, but it almost looked like a guy in brown, and I thought he was moving like kind of doing a gesture like this with a hat. But it was back it was stop number 4 near the trench, and it was back in the woods. I never really said nothing about it until now, but, just like, that's why I was asking you on the way home too, what color their uniforms were. Cause this was like a dirty brown, like it was like a faded, it was almost like a gunny sack, like a gunny sack color, like an old brown, but, it could have just been me, the heat getting to me. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but
yeah, some of the Confederate uniforms, I mean, they changed so drastically throughout the course of the war. When they first started out around 1861, it was kind of hard to tell the difference between Union and Confederate because the Union had like a kind of a lighter blue, and the Confederate had almost a powder blue. So I mean, you couldn't tell if you were shooting at friend or foe for a while, and that's when the Confederates decided to change to a more traditional gray uniform. But a lot of the Confederate soldiers actually had their uniforms because they weren't supplied like the Union had the supply chain and everything. So a lot of these uniforms might have been homemade. They were just wool uniforms. Can you imagine being out there 90-degree temperature dressed in wool?
Yeah,
you literally sweating a gallon an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, before we move on to talking about our next location we investigated, so hang in there, guys. I mean, we're going to be talking about Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. We're going to be talking about Brushy Mountain Prison. So, I mean, we've got some crazy stuff from all those places. So definitely just hang in there, guys. Well, let's play those couple of those EVPs real quick from Stone River. Dale,
sure. Yeah.
Let me know which one you want me to put up first.
Maybe we got 2 that actually were done at the Hazens Brigade. The I Shot Him and the Howl that we got.
Okay.
Those 2. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to get I Shot Him up here, guys. So bear with me. I've only tried sharing screens like one other episode, and I haven't practiced today, so I'm going to try to do this real quick. I'm going to try to play an EVP here for you. That was taken at the battlefield.
Yeah, these were both done in the Phasma box too, by the way.
Okay. Well, doesn't look like it's going to let me. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. My share screen button is not working tonight, so that kind of sucks. Let me just play them straight off of Adobe Edition. Okay, let me try this one more time. Share screen. Nope, it is not letting me. Oh, well, we'll get the, I'll just play them straight in the background here so you guys can possibly hear them through my speakers here. But this is I Shot Him. So I'll see if you guys can hear this.
Low voice coming through here. No.
Could you hear that, Dale?
No, it kind of broke up actually a little bit.
Did it? Here, I'll play it one more time.
Low voice coming through here. No.
I got another one here. This is the Howl, you said?
Yeah, there's a howl that came in there as well. It's a kind of a creepy howl too. We were running the Phasma box, and somebody was commenting about something that was said. That I think that might have been the one you played there first, because I said there was a creepy low voice coming through there, and then somebody was commenting about that, and then all of a sudden you hear this, oh, and it kind of trails off. It's really kind of creepy.
Okay.
And
Okay,
I was listening to it with headphones, and when I was playing back these, reviewing these EVPs through, I cut them out using Audacity.
Yeah. Okay, you ready for it?
Yep.
Okay, here it comes.
Low voice coming through here. No.
I'll play it one more time. This is the first time I've listened to these two, guys. Here we go.
Low voice coming through here. No.
Huh.
Did you catch that? Or it's kind of like it's like a ooh,
Yeah.
it kind of trails off. So like that's why I just said it was sounding like a howl. And,
Yeah.
I know I didn't hear that audibly at the time it was captured, so it wasn't like some dog barking in the background or something. And
Yeah. I haven't even went over mine yet, so I have no clue what I've captured yet, so I'm looking forward to getting over my EVP too. And Dale must be quicker than me. But yeah.
I was just kind of fast firing in these, because I remember certain places we were at that I remember we had picked up EVP, so I just went through those quick those EVP sessions first.
Right.
I'll go back and I'll review all of them eventually, but there was some that I know we had definitely picked something up at.
Okay, and then you sent me two more. One titled "Never Leave" and "I'm Lonely."
Right, the Never Leave that's the one we actually picked up in the trenches there, and I think we were using. I believe this was your Sanjian, actually. Believe that I picked it up on.
Okay.
I had asked who was the Union Commander General at the time of the forces here, and it wasn't a direct response, but then you hear this voice that says, "Never leave."
Okay, I'm gonna play it real quick. You ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Low voice coming through here.
Wrong one. Sorry, guys. It didn't put my new file up. Here we go. This is it.
Who's the Union Commander of all forces here? Never leaves.
Yep, I heard that. We'll play that one more
Yep.
time.
Who's the Union Commander of all forces here? Never leaves.
That's pretty clear.
Oh yeah, that's really clear. I think I'm looking through your files here. I think that's it for Stone River that you sent me.
Oh, actually, I have one for McFadden Cemetery. That was "I'm Lonely."
Oh, that was not Lonely?
No, that was the "Never Leave."
Oh, Never Leave was from McFadden?
No, Never Leave was from the trenches.
Okay.
And we should have one from McFadden Cemetery with a plasma box. And there was basically just 4 graves there. If you remember, there were 2 named Samuel, and there were 2 unknown graves. It was just basically just broken stones there. And as soon as I turned the plasma box on, I didn't even ask a question. The first thing that came through was a voice says, "I'm lonely."
Okay. Okay, I see it here. Okay, here it comes, guys.
I'm lonely. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll play that again. I like that.
I'm lonely. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that.
One more time, guys.
I'm lonely. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I had to cut off my. I got real excited after I heard that, so I kind of ended up cutting out the "holy crap" after that.
I have to do that a lot. Only mine's sometimes not that nice.
Exactly.
Mine are worse than "holy crap" sometimes. Unfortunately. Yeah, let's move on to the next, location. Have you got anything else to say about Stone River? And then we'll move on and start talking about the old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
The only thing about Stones River, basically, just make sure if you decide to go out there that you check on the National Park Service website. You can actually pull up any national park or any national Civil War site, and it'll give you the hours of operation, and if they're with the COVID and everything going around, if they're completely open, because the last thing you want to do is go out there and be surprised you may not have access to the battlefield.
Sure. Yeah. Definitely check with him. We actually talked to a ranger when we were there and asked him what we could and couldn't do and everything. So like he says, definitely check in with people, guys. And if you do go out there for a visitation, to visit the place. And one thing I want to warn you about, and I think Courtney was the worst victim regarding this, but we ended up with ticks, chiggers, and I feel sorry for Courtney because her whole body is covered in chigger bites. I mean, we got back to that hotel and she had bites all over her. Well, they kind of developed later on, and she freaked out and thought something else caused it, but it was definitely chiggers from the battlefield. So definitely put on a lot of bug spray and long, blue jeans, and don't be in shorts like she was out there, because I think that's part of her problem. She got ate up out there, but definitely, wear appropriate. What's that?
That might have been when she was captured by Union troops out there.
I know. I don't know what happened to her back that trail at the slaughter pen, but she was back there for about an hour. But that's a story only Courtney can tell, I guess. And she's at work right now, or I'd have her on here, but. Yeah, definitely wear, bug spray when you go out there, guys. It was bad. But the next location we went to, we had an investigation scheduled on the night of the 5th. Got to get these nights right, for the old South Pittsburgh Hospital. And we went into that location about, 6 p.m. I think we entered there.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, again, that location's the old South Pittsburgh Hospital. And I'm going to show you guys, pop a couple pictures up here of, some pictures we took there. And then we're going to start talking about this, because we had some really interesting things, happen there at the hospital. And I haven't told anybody about this yet, but if you guys were all watching the live feed, we captured a very interesting piece of footage that we are going to talk about in detail here on this show. And I'm going to show you guys some stuff, but here's a photo, group photo we took there, the old hospital. Let me get this other thing out of the way here so you guys can see it. But another selfie stick photo there at the South Pittsburgh Hospital. That's kind of the famous awning they have there in front of the hospital. Everybody gets their picture taken in front of if you've investigated it. But we had a really good time there, and the staff there is just absolutely amazing. That's what I'll tell you about that here in a minute. But here's another shot of me and Dale there in front of the awning there at the South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee. reading the comments here. But first thing I want to talk about there is I was just completely amazed by the staff, once they decided to let us go live, which was awesome of them. And thank you, Dale. But they came out.
I had to do some gentle convincing, but we were able to do that.
Yeah, they were just amazing people, though. They come out there. I mean, when you pull up there, I mean, it's like a red carpet event. These guys come out. They help take your gear out of your vehicle. I mean, they were carrying our gear up to the place for us. I mean, they helped us pack our stuff in. I mean, I'd never been to a location where the staff comes out and actually packs your gear in for you. I was like, where'd my stuff go? And they were like, oh, the staff took it in. I was like, okay, cool. So, I mean, they have a place set up in there, a command center. I was very, very impressed by the staff of that location, And I was so impressed that, I don't know if you know this, Dale, but next weekend, I think it's possibly Sunday the 14th, if I'm not wrong on my dates here. I think that's next Sunday. They are going to be on our show. The two girls, the two staff members, they've agreed to be guests on the show. So I might have them on here and interview them, about our time there and just kind of ask them about all their stuff regarding the old South Pittsburgh Hospital and, how they got started and all this. And they've got their own paranormal team. So I don't know if they're out there watching tonight, but we'll definitely, I think Candace and Glenn, I think was the other one's name, but we're going to talk with them and interview them too next weekend. So we'll have them on the show. So that'll be pretty cool. But, okay, we start out, we go in, we set stuff up, pretty neat location. And we rig this one hallway up where they call it the shadow, where they see a lot of shadow figures. So we put a lot of stuff there. Dale, explain what happens in that hallway.
Well, first, before we comment about that, I would like to comment just another thing about the staff too. You got to remember that they literally went out and brought in food for us too.
Oh yeah.
So that they instead of interrupting your investigation, just let us know what you want, and they'll go out and order it, and they'll bring it back, and that's real nice too. And that's something I've never come across in any place I've been to so far.
Yeah, and them letting us go live, I want to mention that too, was extremely nice because they do have it in their policy that there is no live Facebook feeds there now. And they let us do a live investigation there. They kind of let us do that. And we are supposedly the last team. So if you guys go watch that old South Pittsburgh Hospital video, that is probably the last live feed video you will ever see done from the old South Pittsburgh Hospital because they no longer allow that. And we're the exception and the last team to be able to do that. So I really think I can't thank them enough for allowing us to do that, to show you guys, that location, that awesome spot. And, had I not been going live, I wouldn't have. I'm going to explain this video, though, and some of you are probably going to be a little disappointed, but I did capture something while we were going live, which could have been paranormal, but we're going to talk about it here in a minute. But we're going to get to that, guys, so hang in there. The video of what looked like a guy pushing a wheelchair or bed down the hall or down the hallway in front of the nurse's station. But we're going to get to that video, guys. But I'm going to let Dale tell you about the hallway. When we got there, we rigged this one hallway right up, with everything. But there's shadow figures seen there, Dale, in that hallway.
Yeah, it's right next to the nurse's station. You have a lot of stuff right there. You have the nurse's station. You have reports of the elevators actually coming down and making the sound like they make a ding sound like they're coming down to the bottom. And these elevators have been locked down for decades. They haven't been traveling at all. The ER is right there. You also have this kind of what I would call the kind of creepy hallway. And there have been a lot of reports of shadow figures that were captured there in the past. One of my colleagues from a group out in Missouri called PREOM, the Paranormal Research Investigators of Missouri, actually caught a shadow figure kind of holding on to one of the handrails that line the hallways. Most hospitals have kind of like handrails.
Right.
So they can people that need to get out and do exercise or if they're doing like a little physical therapy, they have something to hold on to. And real good image of just a shadow figure just kind of leaning against that thing and holding that handrail. There's also a water fountain right over there too, and there has been reports. And when I mentioned this, they said there were other reports, which I wasn't aware of. But there's another paranormal team had been out there a number of years ago, and they took some FLIR video of there and shot a FLIR camera down there, and they got a kind of a dark little head kind of pop up around the water fountain and kind of pop back. And when I said that, I don't know if you remember that, Jason, but they said that, oh yeah, it happens all the time down there. They always see these shadows. So we put all kind of equipment down there. We had Jason put down an eddy meter. I had a REM pod in the hallway. We had a shadow tracker. We had the brand new GS2 laser grid. I think, Jason, you also had a night shot camera down there. So we flooded that hallway with all kind of equipment throughout the night, hoping to capture some of this shadow play that people have seen.
Oh, yeah. And I still have to go over that footage, too. I still got to go over all the night shot footage from that hallway. I had a recorder running down there, too, Dale, and the REM pod tripped at one time. I haven't put in my SD card from the eddy meter yet to see if I got any EMF hits or anything. But I think one of the REM pod trips was caused by a radio being keyed, because I heard somebody do a radio test shortly before, and then the REM pod went off. So I think it might have been caused by a radio keying up. So that may be able to be debunked, because I don't know if you heard the REM pod going off or not, but
that's what people really need to be concerned about when they're using either a REM pod or a millimeter with a telescoping antenna. That can be set off very easily by not only two-way radios, but also fluorescent light bulbs.
Yeah. And I think the one that, like I say, the couple times it did trip was radio testing or radio transmissions that caused it. But I still haven't looked at my eddy meter to see, if we got any air pressure changes, any humidity changes. It'll do vibration, EMF, temperature. It'll do like 5 different things and correspond. I can look at that and see if we had a temperature drop, an EMF hit, a humidity change, all at the same time, and see, and put it on a graph and be able to look at that and see what time it was and everything. So, but like I say, I've got probably 2 weeks of reviewing to do before I get everything out there as to, what exactly we did or did not find. I didn't find a lot so far at either of the two places we talked about so far. We did get some stuff. They're definitely probably haunted, but I think what was this? I don't know. I just got to check that eddy meter, but I thought I got something extremely awesome, and I'm gonna play this for you, Dale, too. And I think you somewhat seen it at the location. You should be able to see it on your screen too, being a guest. But I'm gonna play this now. What happened here? I'd set my camera rig down on I think it was the nurse's station, wasn't it? Isn't that where that was? Yeah. Right there by the elevators. Yeah. Okay, so I set my camera rig on the nurse's station facing some doors, and we got what we thought was a apparition or a person either pushing a wheelchair or pushing a hospital bed or something else, down that hallway. Now, I'm going to show you guys the video, and I'm going to play it probably several times so you guys can look at this. And then I'm going to tell you about it. Talking to you guys now. Got the light cranked up pretty good. I'm going to put it where you can see that door. But you guys are in the area where they hear a lot of voices. So I'm going to leave this camera stationary. What was that? Go back. Hey. What? What's your camera? Okay, I'm going to play that probably a couple more times for you so you guys can see it again. Talking to you guys now. Got the light cranked up pretty good. I'm going to put it where you can see that door. But you guys are in the area where they hear a lot of voices. So I'm going to leave this camera stationary. What was that? Go back. Hey. What? What's your camera? I disappeared. Sorry. I pulled a vanishing act there, guys. I'm going to play it one more time just because, talking to you guys now. Got the light cranked up pretty good. I'm going to put it where you can see that door. But you guys are in the area where they hear a lot of voices. So I'm going to leave this camera stationary. What was that? Go back. Hey. What? Where's your camera? Okay. Now we're going to talk about it. I mean, it looks weird. Don't you agree, Dale?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. What actually happened now, thank goodness for some of my team members at home watching and people sending me still shots and videos. People were actually, sending me footage of this. One of my team members actually back home, John Sweat, sent me a still shot of the video, and I actually debunked it shortly after we left the old South Pittsburgh Hospital, because John sent me this photo, and we immediately identified what looks like the wheelchair being pushed down the hallway or a bed is actually a light reflection of our camera rig. So I'm going to show you guys that picture of the camera rig that we cut off and showed you. So we have completely debunked this video. It is not paranormal in origin. It was caused by a weird light reflection casting onto our camera rig. But the problem comes with the movement. I don't understand the movement and the guy behind it, which I believe the guy to be me. I know this is our camera rig here. You can see the arched handle, and what the square on top is actually our video light that we use to do our live feeds with. I'm going to grab that real quick to show you guys what that looks like. But right here, it just fell apart. This is what we captured that looked like a wheelchair with a light reflection. And some people thought it was like an IV bag on a hospital bed. We had all kinds of people saying it was a variety of different things. I was confused myself. I thought we'd captured some of the best piece of footage we'd ever captured. But after slowing the video down, I think what happened is Courtney came into the hall. We tried to bunk everything. I could have lied and said, oh, my God, this was a guy pushing a wheelchair, and tried to be, the staff at the old South Pittsburgh Hospital probably would have been talking about this video for 10 years, but saying that's what it was, but yeah. we have debunked it, and it is not paranormal. Here is me, what I believe to be me, as the guy moving in the picture, because what happened, Courtney came through the hallway, and there you can see it. This is a picture of the guy pretty much behind it. I still not 100% sure on this part, but I believe that to be me. Here's a better picture of it. You can actually see a head and a hand. I mean, you can see the head leaning in and a hand with fingers on it. Now, what happened is I think she flashed the flashlight on us. She was coming up behind me long enough to create a shadow from me between my camera rig and the light being shined from it onto the wall and cause some weird illusion. But 100% our camera rig there, and probably me leaning onto a table. So it's probably myself. The problem is I don't know how it moved. Lights and shadows do weird things, and maybe Courtney was moving, giving it the illusion of movement. But I'm going to have to debunk it and say it is definitely not paranormal. So.
Well, that's what I had thought too a little bit. I initially had thought perhaps it was some sort of headlights coming through the windows, but see, the windows were on the same line as where this figure was. Or thing was, because what you're seeing passing by, if you go a little bit further to the right, that's where the windows would be. So I said, well, then how did they get over there? The only way I could kind of, like you were saying, that Courtney probably came behind you with a light rig, and as she was moving, your shadow was actually moving from one direction or another and then going through your camera rig. and create an
Right.
illusion of movement. And even though you were perfectly standing still and the camera rig was standing still, I think Courtney was the one that was moving.
Right. Yeah. I'd say that's exactly what happened. So we've debunked that one. Sorry, guys.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Would have been nice
Bad,
to have.
yeah. As bad as we wanted it to be something, it definitely was not. Once John sent me that, I was like, that's exactly what it was. It's like, and I think it's for my team members back at home that watch my live feeds, and help me out with some of this because, they'll look at this stuff, they'll screenshot stuff and send it to me and be like, hey, I think this was that, or I think this was that, and it's like, so I'm glad my team members watch that. Were sending me screenshots so we could get this debunked pretty quick because I don't like something being out there where, they false information or a false video, where we thought it was something, but at the time we did think it was something, but we got it debunked after we left. So that's that. But that's part of it. I like to debunk stuff too. If we don't find anything, we don't find anything. So, but did you stick? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say about the only thing that really happened to me that is really aggravating after a while was all the equipment malfunctions that I was having with all my equipment. I mean, I had all three of my IR lights that didn't want to work. Apparently, I had charged these 2 nights before. These are giant 12-volt batteries, but apparently, what I later discovered is that it wasn't the lights. It was the batteries. The batteries were apparently completely low due to a defective charger. Charger was saying the battery was fully charged when actually it was completely discharged, which is really kind of crazy. And then unable to get the thermal tablet to work at all, would not turn on. And so I ended up only the whole night we were there only doing 3 EVP sessions because I was helping other people and training Kelly, who was our newest team member, and then trying to debunk, not debunk, but to try to get the equipment to work, which it didn't, which was really, I wanted to tear my hair out, and I can't afford to lose any more of that. So,
yeah, I know. I came into the command center there, the break room there, and you were in there like digging through stuff. I was like, something's wrong with Dale's equipment or something. But yeah, it's funny how you get to play. Everything works until you get to a haunted location, and then nothing works. It's like that's the way it goes a lot. Batteries drain, things just malfunction. It's weird. I think sometimes that in itself is paranormal. The stuff that happens to our equipment, it's like, why is it not working?
I was just blaming it on the ghost.
Yeah, we can blame that on the ghost. We can't debunk that.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, I mean, I had a great experience at the Pittsburgh Hospital. Again, they were really nice about letting us go live there finally, and great staff. Like I said, I'm going to have a couple girls from the staff on the show next Sunday night for our live talk show. I'm real excited about that. They have their own team, and I want to hear their experiences and what they've found in there because I've been there one night. They go there about every weekend, probably with other teams. So it's like, I want to hear what they've seen and heard and everything. So that's going to be an interesting show, I think, having both of them on. But again, I'd like to thank all those guys for helping us out that night, and they did a great job.
Yeah, they're basically there all the time. So, that's something I always notice when I go to locations is that, I mean, sure, paranormal people in other groups will have experiences, but it seems like the ghosts that may be there are more relaxed, I guess, with these people that are there all the time because they know them. They see them walk up and down the hallway. They hear them tell their story over and over again. So they seem to have a lot of paranormal experiences. And in fact, I think they even said if things aren't happening, just bring one of these people up there. They'll be sure to stir it up for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure the ghosts and spirits get used to them, and they come out for them or they don't for us. You never know. But I thought it was really great. But if you don't have any more stories from there, Dale, I'm going to jump into the location that we toured during the daylight and had a paranormal, I think, a legitimate paranormal experience. So you ready for the next spot? Okay.
Sure.
All right. The next spot I want to talk about, I'll throw up what it's called here on the screen real quick. Let's see if I can find it. It was called the Hales Bar Dam and Marina in Tennessee. And I believe that's in, what is that? That's not Petra. That was Guild.
Yeah,
Guild, Tennessee. Yeah. Now, this location, I'm going to show you guys a picture of it before we start talking about this, or a couple pictures here. But that's what it looks like. This is a creepy location. It's the Hales Bar Dam and Marina. And they said that it is, I believe, I'll show you another one real quick. That's kind of a creepier picture of it. But they said that Dale, it's the most haunted dam, and
Yes, the most haunted dam. Well, it may be the most haunted dam in the world, but at least one of the most. It's surely the most haunted dam in Tennessee, and they said it was the fourth most haunted building or structure in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, a lot of death there, and there was a TV show. I'm not going to mention it on here, that went and captured a apparition up in the control room. Whether they did or did not remains to be seen, because they also told us that particular TV show faked a lot in there. And we get that everywhere we go, where this particular TV show has been, that all the owners, all the staff say, well, don't listen to that because that was all faked, so they told us a story about how they faked some evidence in there, but I won't mention them on this talk show who that was, but I'm sure you guys can all figure that out. They have a popular TV show, but the place I legitimately believe has some activity, because we went up in that control room. I mean, here's a picture, guys. Okay, this is the inside of the dam where we toured, and we've got a little video. I tried to go live in there, but unfortunately there was absolutely no signal there. So we plan on going back and doing a all-night paranormal investigation inside the dam, because I was extremely impressed by what I heard in there. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But what you see at the far end there is what they call the control room, and that's where an apparition was captured in the window, supposedly by a TV crew. Now, I don't believe half of the things that TV crews say, so take that with a grain of salt. But I do truly believe there's some activity at this location. There's been a lot of people die here. I don't even remember. Didn't he say, what did you say, over 10,000, Dale, that guy said?
I can't remember, but I know he said that there were, I think, 13 murders. There were people that were, as they were building the dam, they actually fell into the concrete and actually were kind of like just cased inside there. So there are actually probably bodies in the walls, and people that have drowned, people that have fell to their deaths, and all kind of strange deaths, and a lot of it during construction.
Yeah. There was, unfortunately, though, no signal. I do have a little bitty live feed clip of us there, starting the tour through there. So if you guys want to go look at that, watch that video on our Facebook page. I can't remember how many deaths he said there. 10,000 seems like a lot to me, but I'm thinking that's what he said. Yeah. That seems like a lot for a little dam like that, but maybe I misheard him. I'll have to go back and listen. I did record the audio segment there, but yeah, murders. There'd been a girl taken down into a tunnel and unfortunately murdered and raped in one of the tunnels we went into. And he said, the guide said that he'd found some satanic stuff going on down there. Then they killed an animal, I think he said, down in the bottom, right, and had a pentagram.
Pentagrams down there and candles. And there's actually a table where paranormal investigators are encouraged to bring little dolls or things for the children. They say it's always good luck to leave something, but something you don't want to take anything away, because it's just not, it's bad juju, I guess.
Right. And well, the paranormal event that happened, or I believe it was a paranormal event. There was couple other girls that showed up for the tour that we had talked to before we went in there. And they just happened to be from a paranormal team. They started talking to me because I think they seen Dale's license plate there. It's pretty obvious, what you're doing when you read Dale's plate. But do you want me to tell it over the air what your plate is or not?
Oh, absolutely. Go right ahead.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted me to reveal your license plate, but Dale's got ghosts on his license plate, so that's really awesome. That kind of gets the point across when you're parked somewhere, why we're there and what he's doing there. He's obviously interested in paranormal stuff, but I think these girls seen a plate, and I got out to go talk to the person about doing the tours in there. And I ran into these ladies, and they happen to be a paranormal team too. I think it was their paranormal team is called Black Pearl Paranormal, and
Correct.
there's a couple real nice ladies, and they were filming the whole time. I was filming off and on because I didn't want to use up all my room for Brushy Mountain, not thinking anything of it, didn't have my recorder on. But we get up in the top part of this dam, and we're in this room. We walk right into a room where he said was it the room where he said to like be really quiet to see how quiet it was in there or something?
Yeah, it's supposed to be very acoustically sound. It's got very good, your voices carry, the acoustics are very good in there. And he had just said that. And everybody just kind of was just starting to get quiet when this thing happened.
Yeah. It's like
you want me to tell you, or you want to tell the story? Because
go ahead, Dale.
It's creepy.
I'm sure it's going to be the same story I've got because we all literally majority of the people on the tour heard this out loud with our ears. Go ahead, Dale.
Yeah, this is what you would call a disembodied voice. This is something that you don't just catch during an EVP session, but I'm sure if it's loud enough and if you're recording at the time, you're going to hear it and record it as well. So we had just all got into this room, and he was, to tell you the truth, I don't even know what we were actually going to be in there for to begin with, because we weren't in there more than a minute, not even a minute, when all of a sudden this, the best way I can describe it, and I think you described it the best I've ever heard, is just like the classic creepy ghost wail. It's kind of like a sound of a woman kind of going, oh, something like that in the background. And literally everybody turned in the direction, was kind of like behind us and to our left. Yeah. Kind of turned in that direction. And I at first thought just possibly maybe because the guy was supposed to be doing a historical tour, not even talking about the paranormal at all, but he actually did talk about the paranormal and actually said we could bring some meters into the tunnels and everything later, which is kind of cool. Yeah. I thought, well, maybe then this guy's just trying to scare everybody, and he's got the recording, or he's got somebody there, or the team member, and he's going to make this wail. But when this sound came, I mean, I looked right at the guy. He stopped in mid-conversation, and he looked out, and his eyes got about as big as a silver dollar, and he walked out of the room towards the thing, and whatever we were doing was that moment was gone. Everybody was trying to find where this noise was coming from.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, same thing. Yeah,
the bad thing, unfortunately, is my battery was going in and out the whole time. It started with 3/4 of a battery when I went in there, and I got a pretty good sized battery, and it went from 3/4 to 1/4. So I was trying to conserve my battery power, and I think Jason had turned his recorder off. And of course, when you turn your recorders off and you turn your cameras off, that's when things are going to happen.
Exactly.
Mark my words.
Yeah, I just turned it off to save, room for Brushy Mountain. And I mean, it was literally, here's my impression. It was like, ooh. I mean, that's literally what it sounded like. It was like a disembodied your typical ghost. And I'm sorry, but that's my best impression, guys. And the cool thing was I've got the girls from Black Pearl Paranormal. They were rolling when it happened. So I've got to get a hold of them, and they're supposed to be sending me the audio segment of that event. And hopefully they will. I still haven't made contact with them because I've just been doing 100 things since I got home, but trying to review evidence. And I got to get with these girls and have them send me that audio segment. I'll try to play it on the air as soon as I do get that for, an upcoming show. And, review that. I'm going to put it into Adobe Audition, try to clean it up. I want to reverse it. Hopefully they can get me that audio segment, because I kick myself for not being recording the whole time. But that's the way it happens.
they said that they were recording from the very beginning to the very end. And when I kind of pointed to her, and I didn't remember her name right offhand. I'm terrible with names. And I said, "Were you recording?" She goes, "Oh yeah, we were recording from the very beginning to the very end."
Yeah.
So and because they have a not so much a website, but they got a Facebook page. I'm sure it's going to end up on their Facebook page. So if nothing else, we should at least be able to get something off their Facebook page that we'll be able to hear as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. Tammy's asking if I can do that impression again. No, that was my first and only impression. I quit after that.
Yeah, that was one of the creepiest ones I've ever heard. And I don't know if you guys have ever been around Jason long, but I mean, the expression on his face and his reaction is literally priceless. It was like,
yeah.
And I go, yeah, I heard. I mean, everybody heard. I mean, literally everybody turned around at the same time, and their heads all went in the same direction. So it was very obvious what had taken place. Now in defense, and if you were trying to say debunk it, there were some people on the water that day. There were some boats on the water, but from what I saw when we looked out, in fact, later on, they kind of told us to all pull our heads out the window and scream real loud, like your whale, to see how the people would react. And they were all just generally just fishermen. I mean, I didn't see, at least I didn't see, I don't know, maybe you did or not. I didn't see any women or children on boats out there. I just saw like male fishermen out there fishing and boating out there.
Oh yeah, I looked outside too. I actually went around to the room over there and looked out the window, and I didn't see. There was boats way off, but there was nothing right underneath the dam area where we were at that I seen. And yeah, I couldn't find anybody in the vicinity either. And like that would have to be an extremely loud scream, and maybe just. Like you say, it could be debunked, I guess, if somebody did do it and it just echoed up through the dam and into the area we were at. But it sounded like it was right there with us. I mean, it was like in the building. I mean, it is what it sounded like.
And for the place being as old as it was, I think they said it was started about 1903 or 1904, something like that. There weren't too many actual windows that were broken. I mean, I saw a few. But for the most part, I would say 85, maybe almost 90% of the windows are still in place. So, windows tend to reduce the noise a little bit coming through a building. I mean, if all the windows would have been busted out, and then obviously noise could have gotten there a lot easier. But the sound, to me, it didn't sound like it was coming from outside. It sounded like it was in the next room or something, because it seemed to reverberate inside that room.
Yeah, and this is during the daylight, guys. Not at night, not when we typically ghost hunt. It's not. We weren't even ready for it. We were taking the history tour, thinking these guys weren't going to tell us anything paranormal related, and end up the guy has his own paranormal team and lets us take our meters into the tunnels. We go down into the tunnels. I had a millimeter. I gave Kelly one of my K2s. Dale had his night shot. We're checking these tunnels out. So we kind of did a little investigation there, somewhat with a bunch of people there. We were still trying to get stuff, and I have my recorder that I was doing some sessions there, had my recorder going. So I'm going to go back through all that too, see if we picked anything up. But I'm 100%, that place is on my bucket list, and I'm going back there for a nighttime just because of what we heard. Now, had I not heard that, maybe not, but that was enough to get me back there for full scale investigation. I don't know about you, Dale, but
oh, I definitely like to go back there. As I mentioned, there's so many places in Tennessee that we could make it a weekend thing, like just go down there for a day there and a day somewhere else. There are other battlefields, there are other haunted mansions, all kind of places in and around Tennessee. There's a very famous Orpheum Theater that's down in Tennessee, just a little bit south of Middle Tennessee or so, which is and they allow paranormal investigations in there. So I mean, there's just dozens and dozens of places, so we could literally make it a weekend thing. But it to me, it's just it's pretty amazing, and that just shows you that I swear that these ghosts literally know when you got your recorders on and when you got your stuff off, because it seems like happens to me all the time. We're not facing in the right direction. We're facing over here. It happens here. We turn our recorders down. We stop our sessions, and all of a sudden, then that's when it seems to happen. It's like they're intelligent, literally.
Yeah. So if you guys see me going like this, I got a guy looking in my window right now trying to get in our shop, but I'm doing the live feed in here. I'm going like this till somebody get out. You guys probably think I'm crazy here, but but yeah, I definitely want to go back there, and it sounds like it's gonna be a good, because he said we can investigate it, and we can have we only have to have 5 people, and the guide will even leave. I mean, we'll have the whole place by ourselves, the Hales Bar Dam and Marina. We'll have that whole dam by ourselves. So I'm looking forward to that. And I want to hit the Bell Witch Cave when we go back. Maybe, do some stuff there at the Bell Witch. I definitely want to hit that some weekend.
I've been to the Bell Witch Cave, but I've never been in the Bell Witch Cave. I actually drove past it, got a picture of the cave, got some of the pictures of the commemorative plaque to talk about the Bell family and the Bell Witch haunting and so forth, and even talked to some locals when I was out there. Even one person that was a direct descendant of the Bells that was pretty much up in age at the time I talked with them, and they claim that this actually happened. So whether or not it was people that were I don't think they were making it up. It's just too much evidence to show otherwise. I mean, these kind of voice type of phenomena like that, when you these audible voice phenomena. I mean, not just a disembodied voice like we heard at the Hales Bar Marina, but these things went on for years and years at the Bell Witch. And there's only a couple of other places in the world that has actually happened. There was a report of a talking mongoose in the Isle of Man back in the 1900s, I believe. And that, I think his name was Jerry, if I remember correctly, the talking mongoose. And so and then the Enfield poltergeist case in England, where these girls, these deep Cockney English voices came out of girls and went on for months and months, and they never got hoarse. They were proven that they could not ventriloquize. So that's when you hear something like that, or Bell Witch or other, that's really the exception to the rule, and those are places that you really need to be putting on your wish list to look.
Oh yeah, for sure. We had a question too. Have either one of you investigated a cave? And yes, I have. I've investigated several caves. I mean, we did a cave in rock. Jennifer Baker wants to know. Actually, that's down by her, because that's my cousin asked me that question. But yes, that is. We did cave in rock there in Southern Illinois. I did some EVP sessions in Marengo Cave, Mammoth Cave, and I know Dale's probably done some too. Haven't you?
Yeah, I've been in Mammoth Cave, and of course, a couple of stories is the very famous the Indian that was found in mummified form thousands of years later, at least 1,000 years later. And they say that his ghost may be still in there because his body was never laid to rest. It was put on display for people to see in a glass case. There's an area where a lot of artifacts were found, and people were digging, archaeologists, and they began taking stuff home with them. I mean, not artifacts, but spirits home, and having all kind of experiences. And I've been in there many times, and of course I was also investigated, I think 3 times. I was out at Leonard's Cave, a cave in Red Boiling Springs, Tennessee, which if we ever decide to do the Thomas House, we're able to probably investigate that in 2 other locations for the cost of all one, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I actually heard what sounded like disembodied voices down in Cave in Rock in Southern Illinois. There's a river that runs by there, and river pirates used to use it to, take people hostage. They supposedly killed people in these caves. They buried treasure. They would loot the people coming up the river and hide in this cave, and it's called Cave in Rock. We've investigated a couple times, and the problem with the disembodied voices there's dripping water in the cave. And that dripping water, sometimes it's like audio pareidolia, it makes it sound like it's voices when it's not. So I think some of what we were hearing could be debunked, but, I heard some things in there that were pretty strange, but
and the same thing with with Leonard's Cave, the same thing is they have some sort of a little bit of running water. I mean, it's not a big waterfall. It's kind of like a little bit of a gurgling stream coming through there. And you get that, like you say, that audio pareidolia effect where you're hearing the gurgling water, but then are you hearing voices on top of the gurgling water, or is it just embedded sound, or is it something else? Because you know that water is a conductor. We know that, and then these caves on top of that are limestone. So we got the limestone connection, we got the running water connection, we got the Indian connection, we got bodies that were found and actually buried in this cave. So we got all this stuff going on in Leonard's Cave. So that's why it's one of the most haunted caves, in Tennessee, next to the Bell Witch, perhaps.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. I love caves. I've loved exploring caves since I was little. I went with my grandparents and they used to give me this little ball of yarn, and there was unexplored caves, in their area near French Lick. And we'd take this ball of yarn and go into these caves and try to follow it back out and hope we didn't die. But
it's better. It's better than what Hansel and Gretel did. I mean, when they were leaving breadcrumbs along the way, and then having the birds eat the breadcrumbs, and they got lost. So
that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I'm lucky some of the things I did as a kid that I'm still here, but I'm sure we all can say that. But try to read some more comments. But okay, guys, I think you ready to move on and start talking about Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, Dale?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, guys, we are going to talk about our conclusion of our investigations in Tennessee at the Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. And we done that on June the 6th of 2020 into June the 7th. We were there past midnight. I think we had it from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m., but we got there a lot earlier, took a lot of pictures like we normally do. I like to document places before we go in. I have Courtney go around, she takes a lot of pictures and documents, try to document every room, every location, but stay tuned, guys, and don't leave us, for this last half hour. We may go over, knowing me and Dale. We may end up in another 3 hours here, but stay tuned, because we're going to talk about what we experienced at Brushy Mountain. And I can legitimately say I definitely had at least one paranormal experience there that I cannot debunk. I've tried to debunk it, still have not debunked it. I've got a video we're going to play for that here after a while and show you guys what we heard, what we captured there at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. I'm going to show you guys some pictures here that we took there. We took kind of a group shot there out front too. This is us here. We got myself, Courtney, and Dale, and Kelly, and Greg, and I think Mikey, and was it Kathy, and is it Karen?
Mike, Kelly, and Mike. You got Mike and a Mikey. Yeah. So
yeah, Mike and Mikey. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we had 9 people total, so it was not that large of a group.
Yeah. So we had Dale's group there with us, the Ghost Research Society, and we had me and Courtney from the Crawford County Ghost Hunters there, and just 2 of us, and the rest of them are all Dale's group there. Great people, and we tried to get group shots, everywhere we go. And if you guys have not, seen that video, definitely go watch our Brushy Mountain video. I'm going to show you some more pictures, kind of the prison, what it looks like. There's kind of a full shot of the Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary in Tennessee. Some daytime shots. They've got, this is the backside of it here. Here is the chapel area, which I believe is now kind of like a museum too. And they actually gave us access to that. They were going to. They unlocked it, let us investigate that. They wouldn't let me do any live feeds in that part of the building. I don't know why. There's nothing top secret in there at all, but for some reason they would not let me go live in there. So me and Courtney, thank goodness they didn't, because I went in there for a minute, just to check it out, to say I was in there and to look at it. And I think Dale and his team stayed in there, but I decided to get out of there and go check the live feed and get it going again. And I'm kind of glad that I did, because that's when me and Courtney had our paranormal experience at Brushy Mountain. we had went to what was called D Block, and I'll talk about that here after a while. I'm kind of letting it roll into the here, but it was a great place. I mean, here's a picture of the guard tower. I mean, the place is pretty big. We didn't get access to the guard towers; they wouldn't let us up at it. But most of the other buildings we had access to. We were allowed to investigate the outbuildings. They were even going to unlock some of the other buildings out front if we wanted to, and we just didn't have time to investigate the whole place. But there's a lot of gymnasiums there. But yeah, you want to talk about? I mean, you remember some of the history there, Brushy Mountain, kind of some of the famous inmates, Dale, and.
Well, obviously the most famous inmate at Brushy Mountain was James Earl Ray. And James Earl Ray was convicted of shooting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968 from some, I guess it was a apartment building across the alley or something. And I guess he was at the Memphis Hotel, I believe, when he was shot. And of course, on the same balcony was a lot of people don't know this, and maybe you do. The Reverend Jesse Jackson, who was following Dr. Martin Luther King. Of course, he's into the Rainbow Coalition and everything in Chicago. He actually ran for president under a Democratic ticket. Of course, he never made it, but he was trying to run. James Earl Ray actually escaped from prison. I don't remember the exact date he escaped, but I think he and 3 other people escaped. And I was able to find some newspaper clippings from that time period, which I'll send to you too, Jason, by the way.
Okay.
Actually talk about some of the circumstances behind that. And I think is that a picture of him being brought back right there? You're showing right there?
I believe so.
Is that okay? Because he was kind of like they were hiding out everywhere, and to me that always makes me wonder: did he actually do it or he didn't? I mean, if you're an innocent man, you don't try to escape from jail. You try to maybe have your case appealed, but maybe they didn't allow appeal. Maybe they were turned down or something. But he was in cell number 28, and it was kind of interesting. We were trying to find that. We were actually right above Jason and Courtney, and I kind of heard voices, and we were upstairs. I think we were in the 30 section, from like 30 to 39, and we had to come back down. So there's a plaque on the wall, which I didn't even know that was there at the time because that was a pitch darkness. I guess every place in there has plaques and talks about different histories. There's places in there, the Hole and Death Row. There's a creepy movie, kind of a movie theater hospital area that they had told us that people often get very negative experiences there. They feel headaches and nausea, and they say if you get that, it's kind of maybe good to come out of there. They see some sort of creeper, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Creeping on 4 feet or something, or 4 legs walking around there.
Yeah, they say
that's kind of weird.
You talk about the one they say crawls on his belly.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They told us that a guy, crawling on his belly comes out, and they call him, the creeper. We never experienced that. They were real, like, I don't know. They were when the guides told us took us through the walk. They were telling us all these locations or people who experienced it. Some of the locations they said were like extremely bad and dark, and we probably shouldn't go in there because people get sick and they smell things. They get, they just don't feel well. And one of them was a hospital area too that we went into. And I actually didn't feel anything bad in there or have anything happen to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only place that I felt maybe that there was, it was maybe creepier or maybe a bit, I won't even use the word scary. I don't get scared too easy, but just kind of just the sense of just bad feeling was kind of like the death row area. That to be, I mean, basically you got to remember people that are waiting there for execution, and they're living out their lives there. They're trying to get the governor to pardon them at the last minute, and they're on borrowed time. I can't even say that. Borrowed time.
Yeah.
Say it real fast.
Borrowed time. I can't even say it.
Yeah. So I mean that those areas, in fact, I've been to a lot of different prisons, and that always seems to be kind of a dark area anyway, because it's usually the worst of the worst people in our society that did real heinous crimes and dismembering people and or even sometimes using them in rituals and all kind of creepy stuff. People like Charles Manson and other people are all in death row and or cannibals like Jeffrey Dahmer and stuff. So those areas, to me, they always tend to be, in my opinion, kind of the dark areas of prison. But it was a very huge area. And I mean, when we started looking around to try to find where the guy told us, I mean, we were walking up and down the stairs and all over, and we couldn't even find some of the locations. We had to keep running around in circles.
I know it's very that prison was very confusing at night. If you didn't know where you were at, I was trying to find locations and just I'd go one way and turn around and think I was going the other direction, and I don't know. I needed a map and a compass or something in there, but I'm glad I had Courtney paying attention because Kelly seemed to figure out where stuff was at too. When you guys, she was with you, but yeah, they told us, the guides told us too. There's pretty much been bloodshed all over Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, from people getting stabbed and this is going to bring us up into a legitimate, I think, a communication that we made contact with somebody in there through a ghost box session, I believe it was. But I think, and I may be wrong on the history, I still need to research this and do some more research into it. But I believe there was an event where somebody got a hold of a gun in there and actually shot somebody. Was there not, Dale? Or do you know anything about that?
No, that doesn't ring a bell. Of course, I mean, I was when I record stuff, I usually don't hear half of what they're saying. I usually go back and review later when I literally shot on our trip to all the different locations, almost 100 gigabytes worth of video, which 100 gigabytes I have to go through. So I may come across that story, but it's very possible. I mean, a lot of the prisoners in there, I mean, they had their own homemade weapons, shanks and shivs, and they take a knife or a fork and they make a tool out of it, and so they had them all over the place. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they got a hold of a gun too.
Yeah, I may be wrong. I may have been reading about another prison. I'm getting confused, but I want to verify this maybe in the next show. But I thought, either they got a hold of a guard's gun and shot somebody or something. But if that's true, and I want to verify it's true, because that would make complete sense with what we captured on the Phasma box that you captured, and I'm gonna play that for these guys. You want to kind of give them a little intro to what it is before I play that?
Yeah, we actually got several really creepy sounds and voices and talking and bangs and disembodied voices and things that came through both the Phasma box and just normal EVP sessions, which I don't do a lot of real just regular ordinary EVP sessions anymore, but I should probably go back to start doing that, because I've been noticing, especially at places like this that are very active, you don't necessarily even need a ghost box or an Ovilus or a Phasma box, because things will come through that we actually heard. Now, when we were at the cell for James Earl Ray, which was cell number 28, I think the very first session we did was just an ordinary EVP session.
Yeah.
And, so I just put my recorder right on the, right, kind of facing into the cell block there. And I don't like touching my recorder and imparting any noise to it or anything like that. So, when I reviewed this, by the way, before I tell you what I think I heard, I don't hear it now. So I'm going to have to go through it again and try to play with the settings and try to clean it up a little bit, try to remove some of the background noise, because a lot of people don't realize when you do an EVP session and you turn your recorder on, it's not totally quiet. You hear you'll hear stuff even though there's not any of those sounds. It's almost impossible to get a completely blank sounding area. You'll always have some sort of ambient noise.
Sure.
That's kind of embedded on top of what you capture. So I'm going to see if I can remove some of that background noise. But I had asked the question and the reason you don't have that in your thing, because I'm still trying to clean that up, and maybe you can have that.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
The
by all means use that in an upcoming thing or something.
The absolutely weird thing about what you thought it said, though, and this is weird, guys. I caught it at the time, later on before we left, and some other people had messaged me saying, "Hey, do you guys realize what happened?" And some viewers sent this to me, and they were telling me too. And what did you think you thought? What did you believe you heard?
Okay, well, the first question I had asked, obviously, is the number one question to James Earl Ray: did you kill Dr. Martin Luther King? And we were using just no boxes, no nothing, just normal regular EVP session, and it was complete silence, nothing. Okay, so when I waited a few more seconds and I asked the second question: were you set up by the police, or were you a patsy? Now, that term patsy, for those that don't know what it means, it's like somebody that maybe takes the fall for somebody else. I mean, I think that may have came all the way back from gangland Chicago in 1920s and 1930s, when people often were would take the hit for other people because maybe not knowingly, maybe they like the Dillinger thing, when maybe they were going to just try to get Dillinger out of there, Chicago, and they knew they were closing in on him, and they just kind of substituted somebody for him. So I asked that question: were you set up by the police, or were you a patsy? And when I listened to it on real live review, when we were there, just coming out of the digital recorder, and I think even you heard it, Jason, or you thought you heard it, it sounds like it says, I'm a patsy, or I was a patsy. And I go, whoa, because that would make sense that somebody else may have gotten away with the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King, if that's what we're kind of want to believe here, and that maybe that James Earl Ray took the fall for him and for some murder he didn't actually commit, because if you remember the story about that, he was shot across the alley or down the block, and they said that from the angle of the bullet, they were able to do ballistics and trajectory of the bullet, that this person had to be standing up in a bathtub, pointing out a small window, doing a headshot from about 2 blocks away. That's sort of like, like the famous Kennedy headshot at a moving vehicle in Dealey Square of like Lee Harvey Oswald. I mean, that's a once in a lifetime shot to get something like that. And this guy didn't impress me. When I saw and I read about him, it didn't seem like a person capable of doing that. He had no military background or anything like that. To my knowledge, I mean, he wasn't like a sharpshooter or a marksman or anything like that. He would have been just an ordinary person that maybe had a grudge against somebody. So I don't know if you caught that. I have to again go through my audio, but it cleared it to me when I played back in real time and we were listening to it on the digital recorder. It sounded to me like it said I was a patsy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this at the time either, and this is where it gets kind of creepy. I don't know if you want to kind of chime in too, but I didn't know that directly across from the cell there's actually a plaque. And you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, we found out later on, and I didn't figure this out until me and Courtney went back down there and was doing another session without Dale. I think this was toward the end of the night, and some of his team had left me, and Courtney went back to cell number 28. And we were sitting there looking, and I turn around and look at the wall, and there's a sign. We did take a picture of it. I haven't had a chance to upload it for the show because I'm limited on time so far, but I wish I would have had it, but I'll post it up maybe next time too and show you guys. But there is a sign that mentions that it actually says Patsy on the sign. It like when I read it, you can go back to the live feed and watch that because I read it in the live feed. I read the whole sign, and it mentions the word Patsy in there. So, and Dale mentions this before he knows that's even on the sign. Earlier on in the night, which is really weird. And, I know he had not read that sign.
I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah. And him thinking that's what that EVP said regarding that is just kind of mind-boggling. I mean, I think it's kind
Yeah.
of bizarre. It's creepy.
It is. But then the other one that we did right after that, I think we did a Phasma box session right after we did the regular EVP session. There we did, I think, about a 4.5 minute or so regular EVP session. I think we did about almost a 5 minute Phasma box session, and we were getting some some random stuff coming through. But,
yeah.
I think I sent you this one here actually. What it starts off by saying, it just says, I thought it just said security. Actually, it says security team. If you listen to it very carefully with headphones, it says security team, and it kind of blasted out really, really loud. And then there was maybe a few seconds or so in between that, and then Jason asked the question, and something like, do you need security? Are you going to fight with somebody or something like that?
Yeah.
And then you want me to say it, or you just want to let them hear it?
Well, if they watch the live feed, they know what it says anyway. But okay. Yeah, I'll play it and let them figure it out. Maybe they can tell me on the live feed what they think it's saying. So okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and play this, and then we'll tell you guys what we believe this is saying over the Phasma box when I ask them if they got a fight or what's going on, because they were asking for security. So here we go, guys. I think we kind of repeat it, so that kind of gave it away a little. Yeah. I forgot we repeated what it said.
I should have cut out that section there. I was trying to get right at the very edge of where it said that, because it kind of went into our comment there. But it's very clear what it says. Very clear.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it says I got shot. And that would correspond with what I believe, historically happened in there, because I mean, like I say, don't quote me on this, guys, but I thought I'd read somewhere in the history of Brushy Mountain that somebody had got a hold of a gun's guard, or a guard's gun, not a gun's guard, but somebody, had got a hold of a gun off of a guard and maybe shot somebody. But I'm gonna have to go back and research that. Don't quote me on that, but it could have very possibly have happened and not even have been documented. There's so much stuff that wasn't historically documented in places they didn't even want out. A lot of this place, some of those places keep some of the events and stuff that happens there secret, and they don't want people to know about it, just because it's so dark and tragic. But I'm gonna play that for you guys one more time. I ask you, do you need security? Because have you been shot or stabbed or shot, something along those lines? But here we go. I'm gonna let you guys listen to it again. I'm going to loop this for you guys. This I got shot. I'm going to loop that. I mean, that is without a doubt, I got shot.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, who knows? Maybe it was. And again, I haven't even begun to research a lot of the Brushy Mountain history, and I'm sure it's pretty extensive.
Yeah.
Who knows? There could have been maybe we know there was at least one escape. 4 people that got away. Maybe others tried to get away and maybe they were shot, or maybe like your Jason was saying, that maybe somebody got a hold of the a gun from a guard, and they were calling out security team or something, and then he said, I got shot. I mean, the two kind of go together in the context of what we were talking about there. So that was kind of creepy and very, very loud. Some of these voices that come through the Phasma box can be extremely loud and very easily to pick up.
Oh yeah, I mean I think that's pretty much intelligent communication. I'm asking, it's kind of like we're having a conversation with them, we're amping them up. It's like we're kind of role playing in a sort of way. I was saying, do you need that? It's like I got shot. I mean, it's like that was a really good one. I think that and the experience that me and Courtney had in D Block, which I'm about to talk about here after a while, and I've got a video of it, is probably the two best pieces we captured. I think that. That one Dale captured if I got shot, and this video that I'm gonna play here in a few is probably the best pieces of evidence that both our teams captured at Brushy Mountain, in my opinion.
Right.
That I got shot is really good. I mean, that's cool, and you don't hear that. I mean, I've used that Phasma box a lot. You don't hear that come across that Phasma box ever. Have you ever? I mean, have you heard it a lot? Other than I maybe heard it like.
Yeah, I use it. I use the Phasma box a lot, and I mean, the thing about the Phasma box, which is I like, is that you can get a lot of intelligent responses, and they're not always just single words. Sometimes you'll get a whole sentence come through. We had a lot of sentences coming through that were extremely hard to make out, and when you hear what sounds like multiple words in a sentence, you have to go one word at a time. You have to figure out what the first word is saying. You have to figure out phonetically what it's saying by the letters, the vowels, the consonants, and then move on to the next. So it can be very painstaking to do that. And sometimes you can't hear that and make that determination in live investigations. You have to do that later in the review. I mean, we had a couple of others that were pretty interesting. We got something that sounds like a scream, a disembodied voice, talking sounds, a door slam, a loud bang. I think I sent you some of those others that were in different locations. Some were also in concerned with. There was another one, I believe, later on, and that's actually would have been in the first DVP session. Actually, this was actually the one that says "scream" on there. I think did I send you one that just said "scream" or something?
I believe you did.
That was actually in the very first session that we did during just doing a regular EVP, so we weren't using a ghost box or an obelisk or anything like that. And I just basically was just kind of stating just saying something. I just said kind of like was connected to and killing Dr. Martin Luther King. I was just kind of putting together a sentence here. And in between me saying connected and killing Dr. Martin Luther King, you hear this, I don't know, I don't think we heard it, but I picked it up, and it's a very brief scream, but it's a high-pitched scream that you hear in between. Right after I say connected and before killing Dr. Martin Luther King, you hear that little in the background, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty. You want me to play it real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll play it.
Kind of hard to hear.
Yeah, it's hard to hear on my end too, so I don't know if they can even hear it.
But if you go back and listen with headphones, you'll definitely hear that that scream in between. Right after I say was connected, and right after I say that second and you hear that scream, and I say killing Dr. Martin Luther King after that.
Yeah.
So I kind of sent you kind of like a breakdown of what I said there, and what I picked up in between. It's just real quick. It's just you hear it, and it's none of us. It's definitely something further away.
Yeah, it's definitely none of us. This is the one I like to listen to, Dale. I believe this one's titled "Loud Bang." You can actually hear this bang that we heard. I'm gonna play it real quick, and then we'll talk about it. Well, you remember what happened there?
Yeah, we were actually in the. This was in the music theater, the hospital area, which was the creepy area, the area where they say you can pick up some negativity sometimes, and kind of get headaches and so forth. And initially we were hearing some noises down the hallway, which we later debunked as water droplets hitting the floor back there. We were able to debunk it, but for a while it had us going because it seemed to, we asked the question, it would respond by a little noise, but we found that to be something else. And Jason had picked up my night shot camera and turned off the light on the live feed and was kind of filming down the hallway. And or just before that, he said, you have the night shot on, and even before you got it out of your mouth, you hear this big, giant, loud bang. You know.
Yeah, it sounded like it was on metal.
You react to that. Yeah, something metal, like metal on metal or something, or yeah.
Yeah. I'll play that real quick. Play it again. I'm gonna loop it, guys. Okay, I'm gonna section off the bang and just loop the bang. You can actually hear it hitting in the background. Yeah, that is actually something hitting metal that we couldn't really find what it was.
And then we even had a door slam in that same area too. We were hearing things coming down that hallway, and I think you kind of walked over towards the beginning of the hallway there, and you said hello, and then right after that you hear this. It's not real loud, but you definitely hear a door slam.
Right.
And I kind of marked that as door slam. And basically, it's something in the distance. And we listened for a while after that. We didn't hear anybody approaching us, so I don't believe it was anybody from our team, but I can't be 100% sure.
Okay, here it goes. Yeah, it's right in this area. I'm going to highlight it right there. Yeah, it's hard to hear probably across these speakers, but yeah, it was definitely. I think that was a door slamming too. But I'm telling you what, that footage we captured too. It's me and Courtney captured. Have you heard it yet, Dale?
I believe I did. I think you played it for me, or
it was real loud. I think I played it for you in the car on the way home, but it was really loud in there. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you have any more you want to talk about real quick before I get into that story?
Well, yeah, just real quick. I don't know if I sent all these to you or not, but actually during our Phasma box session, which was the second session we did at Dr. At the James Earl Race thing, right at the very end of that, there was a voice that came through. It wasn't real loud, but it definitely says a murder. And immediately Kelly said a murder. So she heard it in real time too. I mean, it wasn't. It came through the box, but again, we're talking about a murder of Dr. Martin Luther King. So I thought that was pretty interesting too.
Yeah. Okay. I've got that one here. Here we go, Dale. I'm gonna play it again. Yeah, that's pretty good too. There's a lot of stuff through there,
Yeah, we actually, if you remember, we actually heard voices in that area too. When we were by James Earl Ray's cell, I mean, we actually physically, all of us heard disembodied voices. We heard a couple times voices coming down from the corridor, which I actually picked up. I don't know how clear it's going to be, but I actually picked up not only a disembodied voice, but I also picked up some talking sounds. And they were both kind of when I was trying to talk to possibly James Earl Ray, because in one case I said, I got my hand in the cell block. If you want to come over and shake my hand. And about that time, we hear a disembodied voice after that. And then the other time I was saying, here's your chance to clear your name. And then we heard talking sounds right after that. So as every time I tried to interact with him, with James Earl Ray in one way, shape, or form, or talk directly to him, we got something. Either we heard it in the case of a disembodied voice, which I think I sent you. And then the other one that was talking sounds, which I think that might have been something maybe I don't think we heard. With the disembodied voice, I think we all commented on, because I think you, me, and Courtney was there, and I think Kelly was there. All four of us were there, and I think at least three of us heard it for sure. I mean, I know I heard. I think you heard it as well.
Yeah,
so that was kind of creepy. We were hearing those voices.
Yeah, I listened to this after you sent it to me. It's hard to hear over the speakers, but yeah, I definitely heard it too. Yeah. I mean, you really have to listen for this. But I'm gonna go ahead and play you guys this.
Chance here to clear your name, possibly. Tell us truthfully if you actually killed Martin Luther King.
I think that's right.
Mm-hmm. That's a couple of words that came through. And talking by somebody can be paranormal.
Yeah, right in here. So yeah, definitely you can pick it up. You know, it's harder to hear than some of the other stuff.
Right.
Listen to this, Dale. This is pretty amazing. I thought I was right. Mikey just sent me some information on the live feed. Says, according to some history, a Brushy Mountain prison guard has resigned for selling a pistol to white inmates charged with shooting 4 black inmates to avenge the stabbing of James Earl Ray. 2 black inmates were killed and 2 others were wounded as they sat helpless in their cells while a white prisoner sprayed them with bullets. It says Ray was stabbed 22 times. So there was a shooting in there.
Yeah. Now it makes even more sense, but that I got shot.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought there was something I'd read something in Brushy Mountain history about a gun being involved, you know, where somebody got a hold of or snuck it in. So that just confirms that yes, I got shot is a legitimate, intelligent response to an event that took place at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, which backs that piece of evidence and that you captured up even more. I mean, that's just awesome.
I mean, I wish we could have been able to get in to actually sit in his cell block. I think that would have been we would have had maybe a more personal connection with him. I mean, he didn't die in the prison.
Right.
People, he died someplace else, but I mean, he did spend his time there, a lot of his time there at Brushy Mountain, and was able to escape. I assume that he probably got some time tacked on for his escape attempt and so forth. But you know, you often wonder. You know, I mean, so many people often wonder. Then you know, did Oswald actually kill Kennedy? Did St. James Earl Ray kill, you know, King? We know that Sirhan Sirhan killed, you know, Kennedy, the other Kennedy, because he was caught. But I mean, some of these others, I mean, they're almost a lot of conspiracy theories that are floating around about these murders, and we may never know who actually shot JFK. I mean, and people say it was Oswald, and same thing with King here as well. So and that's where that interesting that idea of that Patsy thing comes in. So I'm going to be listening to that. If I clean it up a little bit more, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I didn't have time to really go through it, but I mean, I heard it actually when I was playing it through my digital recorder. At the time, I thought I heard what sounded like I'm a Patsy. Which would be, very interesting. Yeah,
that's awesome. Like, I think, like I say, that piece of evidence is I think that may be the best piece anybody captured there. You know, that I got shot. I mean, that just, like I said, that goes with the story. Now, I thought I was right, but I didn't want to state on the air, you know, that was absolute truth, because I thought I'd read it, but Mikey's backing me up here, so he says it happened.
And if Mikey says it's true, then that's like, you take that to the bank. Yeah,
he's pretty good at research. So, okay, next part I'm going to get into is what happened to me and Courtney. Since we're over our time period as normal here, we're going past 10, which is fine. You know, it's usually a 2-hour show, but every time I have Dale on, we go about 3 or 4 hours. It seems like. But I'm getting into the end piece of evidence. Or did you have any more EVPs you want to talk about real quick?
No, but you know, I can preface this by saying that the one you're going to be talking about, there was nobody anywhere near you guys. So that just kind of preface what you're going to say here in a second, because you actually called on the walkie about that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean,
but I don't want to spoil it. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys about what I believe was one of the weirdest experiences. Me and Courtney both experienced this at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary in what was known as D Block, which is a separate little building. And from my understanding, that's where they put all the bad guys, the hardcore dudes, when they wanted to separate them from the rest of the prison. Like some of the hardcore killers, they want to get them out of the prison. They put them in this D Block. And that's right, Dale?
Right.
Yeah. So we went into D Block, and I'd been kind of feeling weird in there the whole time. I'd set a camera there earlier on and actually walked out of there in the dark without the light because I didn't have my light for my camera. That's what I use to see a lot of times with. And I got a weird feeling like somebody was following me. That's not what I'm talking about with this experience. I mean, you guys probably all seen this if you watch the live feed, because I tried to debunk this. But after I watched the video, it is 100% what sounds to me like a prison door opening. I mean, it is like I mean, it's got to be a prison door opening. That's all I can figure out. And the weird thing about D Block, and you can watch our video and watch us try to debunk this. You know, I'm going to play the video here in a minute with this segment, and you can hear the sound. But the weird thing about that D Block is the doors are all fastened shut. They're all welded shut. We could not open them. I mean, if there was a way to open them, I wasn't smart enough to figure it out. You know, some of them have bolts in them, you know, with a nut on it, you know, so it could go out. But most of them were welded shut. The only doors that would open, they had flaps, I guess, where they would feed them through the door. There was flaps that would open down like this. But that's not the noise we heard. We made a noise with it, tried to debunk it, and you know it didn't sound like it. But I'm going to play you guys this video segment. I may play it a couple times, maybe 3 times, just so you guys can hear it. But this is what happened to me and Courtney. We heard what sounds like a prison door or a jail door opening, you know, and there was nothing there. I believe this was some type of residual paranormal activity because I'm currently not been able to debunk it. So here we go, guys. You guys are just tuning in. We're at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary investigating here in Tennessee. Brushy Mountain is an abandoned historic prison up here in Tennessee that's extremely haunted.
I hope that's
What
them.
was that? Killing EVP session. Let's go see what that was.
I hope that's them.
Heck of a sound. That was like right in my ear. I think it was in this building.
Yeah. I don't want to go first.
I can't get the damn recorder shut off again. So anyway, that was our piece of footage. I'm going to play it one more time so you guys can hear, you know, the actual noise one more time so you can see that. And I'm going to try to get the audio out of that and just get the audio so I can play it too some night to hear that. You guys are just tuning in. We're at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary investigating here in Tennessee. Brushy Mountain is It's an abandoned historic prison up here in Tennessee that's extremely haunted.
I hope that's
What
them.
was that? Kill an EVP session. Let's go see what that was.
I hope that's
That
them.
was a heck of a sound. That was like right in my ear. I think it was in this building.
Yeah. I don't want to go first.
I can't get the damn recorder shut off again. So yeah, I mean, what do you hear, Dale?
Well, it kind of breaks up on my end. That's why I was trying to look over here at my computer. I'll have to listen to it again. It does sound like something creaking or opening or something here, at least.
Yeah.
Is that the same one, or is that another experience that you guys had where the door actually slammed on you guys? Is that something else?
No, that's the one we had in D Block. I was showing you in the car.
Okay.
Yeah. It sounded like we never physically seen anything. It was just an audio thing. We heard it because we actually, if you watch the live feed, I mean, I went outside. I looked through the window. I went around the building, and I came out, and you can verify this. I got on the radio, and I said, Dale, where are you at? And these guys were still in the chapel. You know, Dale and his team. I think your whole team, wasn't it?
Right. Everybody was in the chapel at the time. We had just finished an EVP session in the museum, which is also part of the chapel. And then we went further back, and there's the chapel part, and we were doing a session back there. We didn't get anything at the chapel. And I don't think we got anything at the museum. And when we were in the chapel, I think is when we got the two-way radio call from you.
Yeah. And Tammy Joe's saying there's a little bit before that, there's a faint squeak too. And I noticed that if you listen real close, there's like as it starts and I'm talking over it, and then it's really loud, and it's so loud that I stop talking. Yeah, because we start to hear this. And but yeah, I don't know. I have no explanation for what caused that. And I tried. I mean, I ran out. I went to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what you're probably picking up there, and like a lot of these noises, I think they're just residual stuff that took place. I mean, how many times these doors open and close and slam and creak and moaned and everything for so many years this prison has been open.
Right.
We know that not only that ghosts can be perceived, but I mean, we know that inanimate objects can also produce phenomena or hold on to place memories, things of that nature. So
Right.
I mean, in buildings especially, so places that have this much activity and in some cases violent activity and violent prisoners, it just can hold on to. You get the sound of footsteps, you get the sound of doors opening. In some cases, prison guards, you'll hear the keys rattling as they walking down, or some cases prisoners can take their tin cups they used to go across the bars, and you'll hear all that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of it's just residual.
Yeah. I agree. I agree 100%. It's residual paranormal activity because I mean the fact that the doors are welded shut, in that building, and we literally went to pretty much every door around D Block and shook it, trying to open it to make sure, there wasn't any doors that could make that sound. Every door was pretty much welded shut other than the flaps where they feed them, and they didn't make the same sound, And, it was weird because it echoed through the building. It almost sounded, in real life, it sounded like it was in my left ear, which would have been a wall. And on the other side of that, there's nothing. It goes out into the courtyard part. And I shined through the window to look out there to see where it went. I couldn't tell because I seen some stairs. I went outside and figured out it was just the empty lot. nobody was out there. And I asked the staff. I went up to ask the staff. I'm like, were you around D Block, about 5 minutes ago or whatever, doing anything? And they're like, no, we haven't moved, with like a weird look on their face, like what the heck happened? So I know, I don't think any of them was messing with, were messing with me or trying to.
I'm sure they were.
Something.
I think for the most part, they stayed up in the front and they were outside smoking cigarettes and talking. And, the thing, that's the weird thing about residual stuff like that. I mean, you'll get you'll get a sound, and you can actually call it a disembodied sound, because basically it's not a voice, but it's a sound that you're hearing. And it can be like a prison door slamming, a prison door creaking open without any physical movement of the actual door. I mean, the door never moves. Like in the case with you, the doors are welded shut. People will hear like crashes in their home, like dishes breaking and like mayhem. They'll go in the kitchen. There's nothing out of order. So it's not so much that a physical object had to be moved or something, or crash or break. It's just the audible sounds of that, whatever it is, the door, the window, or whatever that's making the sound that people are picking up.
Oh, yeah. It's like time replaying itself, or it's like a rip in the fabric of time. Or I always explain residual activities like, imagine a battery getting charged up over the time, by all these events, by all this negativity, or, it could be positive, it's getting charged up, but then it releases that energy over time, and in the form of sound, and some people don't understand that actual sightings could be residual activity. It could just be the image, just like a blank image of a person that they see with no soul or spirit, behind it. And, a lot of people think if they see a ghost or spirit, it has to be intelligent. But some cases I've seen, even if you have a sighting of a person, if it happens at the same time every day, if it happens at 3:00 every day, you see the same thing, that could be a residual sighting even. And it doesn't have to be sounds, but 9 times out of 10 it sounds. But, it's like, it's weird. It's weird how residual type paranormal activity.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole idea basically that, people will hear, sounds like at say 7:00 in the morning, every morning, or almost every morning. And what it is, maybe it's that person getting up 7:00 in the morning, they're still fixing breakfast, or they're washing dishes or whatever. And in some cases you might hear the sound. Other times you might actually see somebody walking up and down the stairs, and they've walked those up and down those stairs probably tens of thousands of times in your lifetime. You were at, when you came to Chicago, you might have remembered, we went out the German Church Road. We were talking about that phantom car. Now that's a residual effect. There's no intelligence associated with that. It's a residual effect that something just got embedded in the fabric of time and space, and it's being replayed as a physical manifestation because it was a very traumatic event that took place there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, strange things we can't explain. We try to come up with theories as to what causes this activity, and I'm completely out of trying to debunk that. I mean, I tried to figure out what caused that event. And to me, it's left as one of those experiences I've had at a location that I can't explain. Was it a ghost? I don't know. Is it something I can't explain currently? Yes. I can't explain what caused that sound. Whether or not a ghost or spirit or residual activity caused that, I can't, we can only speculate, but I do believe that as of right now, I have no explanation for that. So.
Yeah, it's interesting when that happens too, because, an EVP is one thing. I mean, an EVP most often, unless you're using a ghost box or something like that, is not heard by the recorder at the time, or the person doing the recording. It's only usually listened to and heard in playback. But the disembodied voices is kind of like the holy grail of a visual apparition. I mean, because you're actually hearing something in real time that your ears can actually register. And how does that happen? I mean, is it residual? Is it being intelligently produced by somebody? People hear creaking of stairs, walking down the stairs. Well, how do you explain that? We know that the ghost most likely doesn't have mass that's actually creaking the stairs. It's the residual sound of them going up and down those creaky stairs all the time. that's making that sound that we hear. And in some cases, when we see the ghost, it's the same thing. They're replaying an event that transpired in their lives, maybe thousands and tens of thousands of times.
And it's why ghosts you have a lot of reports of ghosts walking through walls. You know, there may have been a door there at one time. Somebody remodels the house. There's no longer a door there. They're actually using a door that was there at one point. You know,
there was a very famous case in, I believe, in England, if memory serves me correctly, about a Roman ruin, where people actually, archaeologists were down there exploring some catacombs and so forth, and they were built directly over a Roman road, which is anywhere in England you go, you see Roman roads all throughout England and Europe, and they suddenly saw this legion of Roman soldiers, semi-transparent forms, totally oblivious to everybody. They didn't even, the Roman ghosts or soldiers didn't pay any attention to anybody. They were just marching through there, but they were only seen from like their knees up, because they apparently were walking on the original road. And, and basically over the years, they had filled in a little bit with silt or other dirt, but they were still walking on that road, so they were only seen from their knees up.
Yeah,
that happens a lot too.
That's
People
cool.
say, well, that's kind of creepy. But then if you go back into history, even a home, sometimes they remodel the home, they may raise the floor a few feet.
Sure. Yeah. That's crazy stuff. I mean, the stuff that gets reported and captured. But yeah, Mikey, just for everybody's information, he also says, for anyone who wants to know, he put it in the live feed, though. It says, Brushy Mountain Prison was established in 1896, closed their doors June 11th, 2009. It's currently owned by those relatives who first paid for it and built the prison back in 1896. And he was telling us about, the people who gave us, the guides who walked us through were actually related. They're still, I believe, distant relation of the people who own that. And that was kind of neat, so a lot of history there at Brushy Mountain, a lot of paranormal activity that people have experienced. Like I say, I would say the two best pieces of evidence, what me and Courtney captured with that, probably the number one piece of evidence, I think, that thing Dale got, because it corresponds with an event that took place in there. I got shot, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else you want to share, Dale, about Brushy Mountain, about the trip?
Well, I will say it was a pretty exhausting trip.
I agree.
Only because we spent so much time going from place to place, and we had we were there for long hours and a lot of walking around. We probably walked the whole building, maybe 3 or 4 times, doing the walkthrough, and then basically going back to locations, and whether it be the prison, the hospital, or elsewhere. But I mean, this is what I live for. As long as I can keep doing it, I'm going to continue to do that. And places like Brushy Mountain and like hospitals, these are places that I think that are right on the top of the totem pole, so to speak, for paranormal activity. Places like prisons, hospitals, state mental institutions, and even movie theaters can be very, very, very active. And those are probably the top 3 or 4 that we've gotten the most evidence from. They all, at least 3 of the 4, very often have a lot of untimely death associated with them: hospitals, prisons, and state mental hospitals. And so that's going back to that whole idea of untimely death and having spirits that may be there, not realizing to have even passed on. They're just going about their business, or in some cases, they're just residual.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think, to go back to what you said originally, it was very exhausting. I was tired. I came home, I was going to do the show last night, guys. I apologize. I was so tired, when we got home, and I wasn't able to get all this put together in time to put on a good show about what we actually experienced. We still haven't even scratched the surface really of, I haven't even went through my EVP evidence, all of it. I've still got to go review night shot footage of Old Pittsburgh Hospital. I've got to look at my SD card from the Eddy meter to see if I picked up any unusual, occurrences on that. So, I mean, I haven't scratched the surface yet of looking and reviewing my evidence, but I may have more, in the coming weeks. And if I do, I may save it, and bring you back on, Dale, and we'll talk about it again or something. But yeah, I'll see what else if I capture anything just really crazy that stands out. But
yeah, I got over almost 100 gigabytes of video, some of them 4K, some of them 1080p. Night shot that we were going around. I haven't went through all my EVP sessions yet. There's several I still haven't went through. I only picked out a couple from the battlefield, so there may be some additional stuff there that I might be able to send you.
Okay.
As well as other pictures I have to look through. Most of them taken on my camera, or my cell phone. But even taking pictures on cell phones or digital camera, I mean, you can still maybe get something that you don't necessarily see with the naked eye. You have to go back and look at it. And I'm really looking forward to see it that the 4K, the night shot camera, and I shot, like I said, a lot of video footage up there, and maybe something may have a walkthrough, and you can very easily catch EVPs or at least voices and whatever on the audio track of video.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to go through.
The recorder I got basically records on an SD card, but I mean, you can still capture stuff on the audio section. So there may be some things coming on that end as well, because I literally did a lot of videotaping, a lot more than I thought I did.
Yeah.
I fill up cards, and we tried to transfer them, we couldn't transfer them, so I just got
it was too much to transfer on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. In fact, I'm just going to start, instead of trying to put all these gigabytes on my external hard drives and fill them up real quickly, I'm just going to go out and just buy a bunch of SD cards and just save them on the SD cards.
For sure. Yeah. Before we get off here, though, I want to ask the fans out there, people watching, you guys have any questions for me and Dale regarding our trip to Tennessee? We can answer before we get off here real quick. If not, we're going to call it a night probably. I'll see if I'm sure we'll get a couple questions here, but
sure.
Speak now.
I know somebody had asked, and I was kind of looking through here. Somebody had asked if anybody had ever investigated where JFK was assassinated. Because I was kind of reading through the feeds here myself here, with just kind of turning the volume down a little bit so I could catch some of the questions too. I mean, I don't know anybody that actually has investigated that, because the Texas Book Depository, where supposedly Oswald shot Kennedy from the 5th floor, which again is a moving target, which is crazy. That could very well be haunted, but surely they say the grassy knoll of the area where Kennedy was actually shot, and maybe even Parkland Hospital where he died, those could be hot spots. I know that there had been reports in the past of people allegedly seeing shadowy figures on the grassy knoll area, which is the area that kind of overlooked the if you go with the conspiracy theory, there could have been multiple shooters, and perhaps there was another shooter that was over in the grassy knoll that took another shot from a different angle or something, or was trying to get a shot in. So I'd like to visit. That'd be crazy to visit that area too. I mean, maybe that's something we could do, and do that, and maybe even shoot down and see the Marfa lights down around El Paso, which is a very interesting.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
A lot of places in Texas. So
Eric has a question. Have you ever been to the Philadelphia State Penitentiary?
Yeah, it's called Eastern State Penitentiary. I was there a number of years ago. We were actually investigating Fort Mifflin at the time, which was in Philadelphia, which is another great place, by the way, that we can investigate as well. But we went in to just do the ghost tour, and not necessarily to do an investigation. They walked us through, and when I was there, it was pretty nasty, gnarly. Very dusty, very lot of garbage in certain sections. Some places were very unsafe. You couldn't go in there at all. But I was able to see Al Capone's he actually had like a suite, almost like two prison cells put together to make that. And he had a nice writing desk, a lounge chair, a nice bed, not a regular prison bed. I guess he had connections even in prison. Supposedly that cell is haunted by a man by the name of James Clark, Buck Moran's brother-in-law, who was killed by Capone associates. So, that's a crazy place. I've never investigated. I understand that it kind of turned me off a little bit when I heard that when you investigate it, they kind of chaperone you around. So they kind of
Oh,
take you from
really?
place to place, and they stay in the shadows. They say, well, you won't see us, you won't know they're there, but you actually know that they're there. So it kind of cramps your style a little bit. Um,
Yeah, I don't like that idea.
yeah, I like to be kind of left alone when I investigate.
Yeah, me too. That's why when we got to Brushy Mountain, they probably think I'm a mean guy or something. But I'm always asking the staff what room they're going to be in, where they're going to be located at, because I like to keep a controlled environment. I want to know that these things I see here and experience aren't the staff. For one, being loud in a room, or ordering a pizza and partying while we're doing our investigation, or sneaking around,
Right.
messing with this. I like to keep track of everybody and know where everybody's at during an investigation. And I tried to do that this time around too. Secretly, I was trying to keep an eye on the staff. They probably like, oh, they're watching us to make sure we don't do anything dumb. Well, I'm watching them too. So
Right.
yeah, it's like, and you have to, and because I just want to make sure when I capture something, it's legit. So
Yeah. And a lot of things that, the thing we often like to do during our investigations, we didn't actually do it in our trip to Tennessee, and I was surprised. I didn't even think about it. Is yeah, I like to just sit in a hallway or sit in a room or sit down in somewhere down in an active area and just not say anything, just be absolutely quiet. But
right,
just the normal actual prison sound of the total silence, and then see if anything is picked up. And we call it quiet time. And what we used to
sure,
do is that if we were doing that, we would announce on a walkie, like, we're doing a quiet time. That means everybody sits down. Okay, no matter
yeah,
where you're at in the building, you sit
yep,
down for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, and don't say anything. Don't use the walkie-talkie. Don't ask any
yep,
questions. Don't do EVP, and just listen. And you really
yep,
be surprised then what you hear, because then if something then shows up, and you just told everybody to be quiet and nobody's moving, and you hear a noise, but then you pretty much rule out the possibility of it being one of your team members
sure.
causing the sound.
Yeah, we usually do that in phase two of our investigations. Do them in phases. In our phase two, we set up a controlled environment completely. Rig the house up or whatever it may be on the inside, and either if we got a command trailer, we'll watch from the outside, or we'll set our command on the inside, just be completely quiet, and or just set in a room too. Yeah, like you're saying, have quiet time. Just listen for the sounds of the building and see what you hear. Yeah, that's when you hear and see a lot of stuff. The lights aren't there.
Really, absolutely. I mean, we have picked up a lot of stuff. We actually do quiet times when we do investigations in private homes. Even
Yeah,
we make sure that the client we let the client know that if they're watching TV or something, they need to turn the TV off or something. And usually they don't have the TV on usually anyway, but we make sure there's no ambient sounds going around, and try to kind of really seal off an area as best as you can. I mean, there may be cars going past, or maybe other sounds, or helicopters, or I think
right.
we were doing something, I believe, on our trip, and I think we were at the Hazens Brigade, and there was a plane going overhead. So
Yeah,
right during our EVP session, you really can't do anything about that. But I mean, you can pretty much
yeah,
limit the amount of noise that's in an area. And we had a lot of experiences in Hillview Manor in Pennsylvania, just doing that, just sitting in there with myself, Stanley, and Randy Liebeck, which is my New Jersey State coordinator. We just sat in the middle of the aisle. We just had our camera facing us, and you can see that you just hear a noise. We all point in the same direction, and we're in the total darkness. We can't even see each other, and
yeah,
we hear
yeah,
a noise, and we immediately point in that direction or look in that direction, so we all hear where it's coming from. And
yeah.
there's sounds, there were footsteps, doors, and even in one case, I think there was a voice. So,
Oh, wow.
and the people that were there were very, very far away. They were in another completely different area in one room, and they weren't doing anything. They weren't watching TV or anything. It was very quiet. So, if they walked around, they told us they were walking around, so we wouldn't mistake that. So, yeah, we like to do that a lot, because sometimes that's when you can actually hear some things. But you also got to be careful that you're not also just straining your ears to hear something. And it's kind of like audible pareidolia again.
Right.
Eventually,
Right.
if you go into an area like, say, we've done this before in like the Waverly Hills, there's supposed to be a lot of shadow play, and you're looking down a hallway and you think you see shadows down there, and actually it's not. It's just your eyes playing tricks on you. Your
Yeah.
ears can play tricks on you too. So you
Sure.
got to be be careful about that as well.
Absolutely. Uh, Another question. Somebody asked if we ever been to the Stanley Hotel. I have. I don't know. Have you been there, Dale?
No, that's on my wish list.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually did investigate the Stanley Hotel in 2016. We went out there and to Estes Park out there to Colorado, and we went up to the Stanley and investigated it. And we went down in the tunnel area below, like the cool crawl spaces underneath there. And there was one area upstairs and there's a famous room there, a couple famous rooms there, and I can't remember offhand. And I've never even posted the pictures of this place yet, just to tell you how behind I am on some of my pictures. I know it's the Stanley Hotel, and I didn't post an album on it yet. But I was upstairs in the Stanley, and I had my recorder going, and I picked up and physically heard what sounded like a baby crying. And I didn't know anything about it at the time, but I talked to some of the staff later on, and they said that is one of the things that's been reported up there. I didn't know that, which was pretty cool too. And that's one of the only experiences I really had at the Stanley was I did hear a baby crying outside, one of the rooms, and the room was vacant. There was nobody in it. So I was able to determine that too, that, nobody was in that room. I heard that coming from. So that was pretty cool, and that's a beautiful place. I mean, yeah, you definitely want to get out there, Dale. And if you go out there, I'll go back because I loved it so much. Just the area is just so pretty too. But yeah, I had been to the Stanley, and I legitimately believe there's some stuff going on there. But yeah, everybody, see you, Chris. He says until next time, folks.
So you didn't see the two little girls on the bicycles with the blood coming out down the elevator, right?
No, I never seen that. No,
that was in The Shining. If you ever remember that movie.
Yeah, I missed that one. I think they filmed a scene from Dumb and Dumber there too, where they pull up on the moped or something. I think that was filmed. They pull up in front of the Stanley Hotel. There's been a couple movies shot there, just like. But
isn't there supposed to be? Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong place. Isn't there supposed to be a side building where they stored a bunch of mattresses? Where apparently people had died on the mattresses. Is that true? Is that a true story?
It is not.
Were you able to see that? It's not a true story.
I was able to see that. It's
that was
not
one of those ghost TV shows, then, right?
Exactly. That was that ghost TV show that made that up that I was speaking about with the damn same people that made that story up. They also made that story up. I'm sure you guys know who it is. It's not Ghost Hunters. It's the other one. But he completely made up the story about those beds being out there, where people died and they stored them out in this one building and everything. Never took place, never happened. Those beds aren't in there. That was all made up. And because I asked her about that, one of the staff members, and she was actually the one that I dealt with there that was on the staff was in that episode on TV. She was actually on the that channel. That channel, and she admitted that it was all a lie, just like most of the staff members we talked to. So it's like, you guys, you got your real ghost hunters and you got your fake ghost hunters. Anything you see on TV is fake. I've tried to tell people that for years. It's like it just verifies every place we go. Oh, that was made up. That was made up. It's like it. But yeah.
But the unusual thing about these places and these buildings, and I've been to a lot of them, and I know you've been to some I haven't been to as well. I mean, there's enough real haunted history there that you don't have to make up. That you don't have to make up any crazy stuff with. You don't have to make up crazy stories about beds or pull somebody. Again, this is the same people pull a guy off the street and put him into a haunted prison in West Virginia. I think you know that story. And saying, "Oh, get off of me like this." He was a great actor, but they just pulled this guy off the street and tossed him into the show. And I can't believe that people do that. And again, when I do my live feeds, I say the same thing. I won't identify these people, and I don't give them any free plugs on my feed. But
Right.
you just have to remember that this is reality TV, people. It's not necessarily the reality of ghost research, because they don't follow their own methods, their own protocols. They wander off by themselves, which is a no-no.
Sure.
And they, unfortunately, if they can't get enough evidence, they fake it, and I'm sure they do. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
if I go to a location and I don't get any evidence, well, I don't get any evidence. And that happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's happened to you before, Jason, too, right?
What's that?
Where
What
you
was that?
go someplace and you get nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, just like that video I captured at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. Everybody thought that was legit. I could have went on about that and said, "Oh, we captured that," but I debunked it. I'm not gonna come on here and say that was something paranormal when I debunked. We figured out what it was. And like even this, even the head guy there, I can't remember what his name was. He looked at it and said, "Oh my God, that's crazy," and like. But once you slow it down, it's not paranormal. But that's something TV would have ran with. They would have took that piece of footage and really said, "Oh, this is what it is," and kept it out there, and it's a ghost then. But yeah, it doesn't work like that in the real world. At least with real paranormal investigators, we try to come up with scientific explanations and debunk things, and we're not adding in sounds and screams and moans and.
Yeah, I think that's where, unfortunately, a lot of legitimate paranormal teams get a bad rap from is having these other shows on TV. And I will say they've attracted a lot of people to the paranormal, sure. But they're, when if you're an up and coming investigator and you go on, you see something on TV, whether, I don't care, whatever show it is, and you see somebody doing something, well, what are you going to think? You're going to think, well, these guys must know what they're doing because they're on TV, so this must be a proper way of doing it. And that's what gets to me, because they actually should think about that when they're producing these shows, but they're trying to make them, and I can understand the logistics behind it. You got the sponsors want to make money. More people that go to watch the things on TV, they might buy their products, so they make money. And the scarier you can make it, the better, because more people are going to come back. If you had a show that week upon week had no evidence, sponsors would pull out and the show would be gone.
Yeah, yeah. And it just cracks me up. Like we talked about on the way home, they classify these people that are on TV as para-celebrities, and they seem to put these people up on this pedestal that these people that are on these shows are para-celebrities, and so they must know more than what other people do. But I mean, I consider myself to be a professional paranormal investigator, not a para-celebrity. I'm glad I'm not in that category, because I don't want to be in the para-celebrity category, because to me, para-celebrity says para-fake. I mean, that's basically what it is.
If your only claim to fame is not that how many cases you've investigated or how much evidence you've collected, but how many TV shows you've been on. I mean, to me, that's the wrong way of looking at it. I mean, you should be looking at what you're bringing to the paranormal field, what you're doing as far as educating people, educating new and upcoming investigators, getting the facts straight, getting your methodology straight, but not necessarily. I was on. I traveled 1 million miles across the world and was all these different shows and everything. I mean, sure, I was on a lot of shows myself, but I mean, I don't consider myself a para-celebrity. I try to get the information out to the public however I can through whatever I do, and I know you do the same thing as well.
Sure.
And, it's just that it's a different category, completely different category. I mean, these para-celebrities, I guess, were at one time paranormal investigators, and I guess they think being a para-celebrity was a step up. I think it's actually a step down. The other direction.
Yeah. To me, I mean, I'm not saying everybody, but I mean, I know I've done stuff, you've done stuff with TV stuff. It's like I've been approached by all these producers and TVs. You've been approached by them. It's like, to me, that's what it is. In my opinion, too, you're taking a step down, because you're going to have to fake stuff if you go on TV like on those shows. You know, that's what they ask you. That's what these producers ask you. First thing, are you willing to fake stuff, exaggerate stuff? And they'll flat out ask you this. I've been asked that by producers, and I said no. And you know, I mean, like I said, I've got email after email in a folder like we were talking about on the way home. You know, I've got it titled the Hollywood folder. Yeah, that's all my emails I've got from producers and different channel. I about said a channel, and I'm not going to on the air. Different channels who's approached me, you know, about doing shows. It's just I can't do it.
Well, I mean, what they don't seem to realize, I mean, you might be doing it to make the show better in their eyes, but what are you doing to your credibility?
Sure.
You're basically going out there and you're faking evidence because they told you to do so for money, because now they're paying you, which is, I guess, even a worse sin. I mean, obviously you should get paid for that, but you're paying to fake evidence, and you're kind of bilking the public because the public thinks that what you're producing is actually legit. So then when you finally get out of their contracts and finish with the shows, I mean, how do people look at you from that point forward? Do they look at you from, you used to be a good paranormal person, or you used to be a celebrity that was on there faking stuff?
Yeah.
That's what really bothers me, because it you know, you put your credibility in jeopardy by doing something like that. And that's why, you know, if I'm not 100% sure of something, I won't put it up on my website. And I mean, I've gotten a lot of people trying to debunk that photograph of Bachelor's Grove for so many years, sitting on the tombstone. They called me an outright fake. I still get hate mail every now and then from people saying, "Oh, it's got to be a real person." I said, "Well, you weren't there." So, I mean, I would never put one photograph, surely just not one photograph, up there and say it's legit when it wasn't legit. I mean, we tried every way to debunk it. And again, this wasn't a digital, this was a 35 millimeter. So we got a film strip we can actually hold in our hand.
Right.
Which a lot of people don't realize it, unfortunately, when they don't do their own research. But there's a lot of people out there, unfortunately, that will jump to that. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that will get into the business like that and being a para-celebrity, and then will say, "Well, yeah, I know my friend Joe Schmo, and he's got a ghost in his house now." So that's a way of getting on TV. So you have your friends say, "There's a ghost in your house." I'm sure this has happened. Because I mean, you look at some of these shows, Jason, and I'm sure you'll agree too, that some of these shows and some of these investigations are really hard to believe. Some of the phenomena they say happens here in these locations, and everything now has got to be a demon, diabolical and demonic. That's what sells now. Now we're into that diabolical stuff, and before it used to be just ordinary ghosts. Can't go back to it anymore because it's not interesting enough. The sponsors. I may lose a lot of TV shows because of that, but I don't care. I'm just telling it how it is.
I know. I just wish they would do a show that's legit. You know, if they did a show that was legit and actually, you know, just filmed us like doing what we do and not adding crap in, you know, and not putting all this stuff in, exaggerating the stories. I mean, man, it would be a hit, because it's like, I mean, you just do a legitimate show and nobody will do it. It's like they all want to, it's entertainment, I guess, you know. I don't know. I think, you know, the real deal would go over, you know. It's like,
I mean, look at the shows. I mean, I was on several times. I was on Sightings, which is a great TV show. And they would take me to places and we would investigate locations, and or even the other side. It was an NBC show. And if you went to a location and you did your little thing there, and they were really there to show how you do something, how you set up, how you investigate, how you research. And they didn't care if you captured something, but if you did, hey, that was a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. But it was not a requirement back then. It wasn't a requirement to have actually have a paranormal experience or even have evidence to show for that. Now you have to have evidence for it to be legit. So where did that all of a sudden come from? I mean, where does it say in the Ghost Hunters book that you have to have paranormal phenomena everywhere you go for it to be legit? Otherwise, it's not a ghost, and you're doing something wrong. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just we're going in the wrong direction.
I know. I was gonna say, I guess I'm old school because last time I checked in the book, it said you're to investigate and try to find all natural explanations, and debunk everything. But now it's like going the other way. You don't want any natural explanations. It's all ghosts.
Yeah, and you don't want to debunk. I mean, even though some of these TV shows, the one you won't mention, by the way, occasionally does have a few debunked on their screen, but when they started out, they were completely different too. I mean, they
Right.
would investigate regular ghosts. Now everything is demonic.
Yeah.
They never used to debunk anything. They initially said that they didn't believe in orbs,
Yeah.
but now they don't call them orbs. Now, when they see something, they call them light anomalies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Light anomalies floating through. And we
Yeah.
know it's not a bug. We've debunked it as not being a bug or a dust particle. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Oh wow.
There's a way of getting around it. It's a war of semantics, pretty
Sure.
much. It's just, you change the word orb to a light anomaly, and you change whatever to something else, and then it fits the scheme of things.
Right. Yeah.
Which,
They don't just say.
unfortunately makes people like me and you look like we're old fashioned. We're doing something wrong here, which we're actually doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. We're actually investigating.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's been a good show, Dale. I mean, I had fun on our
Right.
trip.
Yeah, sounds good. Any
What's
other
that?
last minute questions? Anybody's got? I know a
Let me
couple
look
of people
here.
asked.
Yeah, so if you want to scroll through them, see if there's any you want to answer there too before we get off here. Yeah, thank you guys for telling us we're doing this the right way. I mean, we appreciate that too. You guys watching us and telling us, hey, that you like the way we do things and scientifically investigate and stuff. I mean, that helps us a lot. See
Yeah,
anything?
it was
Dale?
kind of interesting. I'm sorry, not really, but
Okay.
it was kind of interesting. Those two females from the female tour guides from Brushy Mountain that we met and we talked to so long at the end that we probably could have talked for. We still probably would have been there talking with them if we wouldn't have broke up, because they were such a nice group of people to talk to.
Yeah.
They both automatically sent me a friend request, which I told them to do, and I already accepted them because I think there'd be somebody to. And I think I already made him a part of my GRS group on Facebook as well. But I mean, I was doing something. I was actually doing a live Facebook video on the way home. I don't know if you caught any part of that, but I was surprised that I only lost connection one time. I was actually just I had the thing up here, and I was driving, and I was kind of looking back every now and then,
Yeah.
and the feed was actually pretty good. And one of them actually said something like. Dale's the real thing or something like that. We need more of him.
Yeah, that was.
I've only met this person one time.
That was the South Pittsburgh crew, I think, the hospital crew.
South Pittsburgh crew? Oh, that's right. You're correct. You are correct.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
About this. I'm already losing.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, because I watched your live feed. I went back and watched it. Yeah, it was actually the girls that I'm going to have on here. The two girls that we sat there and talked with. Yeah. Yeah, I think they were
Gwendolyn and
yes,
Gwendolyn
Candace.
was one, and
Candace,
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was Old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
Yeah.
I still got my car lag here. My head's still foggy.
Me too. I'm still tired. I'm trying to get over the para hangover, they call it, where we investigate all night long and then get up, do it again. It's like, but yeah.
Right. So if you are tuning in, if Candace and Gwendolyn are still tuning in, I apologize for putting you in the wrong spot there. It's a little bit of jet lag here still.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, they're going to be on here next weekend, Dale. Maybe I'll have both of them on here. Yeah. But if you want to do a call in too and talk to them, we can even have you on the phone if you want to ask them some questions too, and talk to them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I may be able to get four
That's gonna
people
be
on
on.
there.
Yeah.
So
Well, let me
yeah,
know about that. Keep me in the loop about that. And I don't have anything planned. I got a couple of shows coming up this week. I mean, I got tomorrow. I'm doing a podcast. Actually, it's a Zoom podcast that going to be all the way from Australia, and
awesome.
it's going to be recorded, but then they're going to edit it down, and I'll tell everybody with the link about that. And then Wednesday, I'm going to be on from 7 to 9 p.m. on the X Zone Radio with Rob McConnell. And I think I told you I'd send you that link because they're always
Yeah.
looking for people to talk on the show. So I'll make sure I send you that link, and all you got to do is just fill in like 5 or 6 questions and things,
Okay.
your website, a little bio, maybe a picture, and pick your date. And you're in like Flint. And
Okay.
they go all over the world, all over Canada. He's a great guy. He's really into pretty much any aspect of the paranormal, but I guess he kind of likes ghosts, but he talks about Bigfoot and UFOs and pretty much anything. It's just the X Zone Radio, so it's just like everything
Awesome.
kind of unknown, kind of like a spin-off from the X Files.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Yes.
I'll make sure I send you that link so you can get on that show. So,
Okay. Yeah, I'll go on there. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll talk with them. So
yeah, they're neat people to talk to, and they have a great show. And I think the show's like 2 hours, but they take some breaks in between for commercial and station identification, I guess you might call it. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
But as usual, I always enjoy being on with Jason. So and we had a great time. I know I had a great time
Oh,
with you
yeah.
guys over the weekend. And
For sure.
even though it was a long trip and everything, but like I said, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Exactly. That's what I always say.
Keep
Like,
going here as long as I can.
Yeah, I know people ask me like, how do you go all night and get up and go all day and night? And it's like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I'll figure it out when I'm dead.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, like me, I don't even have a job. This is my full-time thing right now, and this has been for since 2009. It's been a full-time thing when I lost my job. So basically, that's cool. I can do what I always wanted to do, and travel all over without having to say, well, I got to go to work Monday or something like that. What a lot of people might do.
Right.
COVID stuff, but generally speaking, they might have to go to work. So
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, it's good you're living your dream.
oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, thanks Dale for being on. And like I say, we got Ashmore coming up. You always come down to a weekend with us in the summer, so we got that to look forward to.
Right.
And then we're going to Gettysburg in August. So I mean, we got a lot of stuff.
And Pennhurst.
Oh yeah, and Pennhurst. I forgot about that. So
yeah,
that'll be
Pennhurst
awesome.
Pennhurst is going to be something I'm really looking forward to. I've never been to Pennhurst before. That was also on that unmentionable paranormal show way back when. But it is a really, really neat place. And I think we're going to have a great time there. We're going to have unfettered access to the entire grounds.
Yeah.
We'll be able to get in the Mayflower building and 2 underground tunnels. And
Awesome.
since we're basically set loose, I don't see why we can't do a live Facebook session
Awesome.
right here.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure all the fans out there and stuff will love to see that. So you're going to see more of me and Dale this summer, guys. We're going to be doing a lot of investigations together. So stay tuned for that, and we'll definitely keep everybody updated and announce when all that's going to happen. So I appreciate you being on, Dale, as always. Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And even though we were together all weekend, I can still sit here and talk to you another 4 hours. But thanks for coming on, Dale.
All right, thank you. We'll take care now.
Okay, you too. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
All right. All right, everybody. That was Dale Kaczmarek from the Ghost Research Society. We've been doing some investigations in Tennessee this past weekend. We got a lot more coming up for you in the summer coming up and in August. So definitely look forward to that. I want to thank everybody for watching tonight's show. Appreciate all you guys out there. I know we had a jam-packed show tonight. Everybody's saying thank you. Well, thank you guys. We appreciate all you guys, tuning in night after night when we do these investigations. I mean, it means a lot, seeing you guys, all you repeated people on here watching us. So we're going to keep doing what we do. We're going to investigate and give you the truth, debunk everything possible that we can debunk. So we're bringing you accurate, information when it comes to paranormal research and investigating. So you can definitely, again, if you haven't, check out our Facebook page. Our Instagram is Instagram at Crawford County Ghost Hunters. Website is crawfordcountyghosthunters.org. And we're going to continue to investigate paranormal occurrences as long as we can. So we're going to keep this show going and let you guys know and talk with us on what we, experience and interact with you guys. So I want to tell everybody out there, you guys have a good evening. We're going to end this show here with this, and I will see all you guys on our next investigation, which I don't know. We got it planned here sometime soon. Maybe this weekend we may have something. We got a lot of stuff to hit on our list. We've got an old Masonic Lodge. We got the Limp Mansion in St. Louis, Missouri. So that may be one of these coming weekends. We'll keep you updated. It might be a little surprise. So have a good evening, everybody. I'm Jason Snyder with the Crawford County Ghost Hunters, signing out.